And we are here. Welcome everybody back to Dapple Productions. We are looking at paddling pool number 378. My name is Raka. Joining me is Ellie, and we're looking at winners bracket finals here. We have about 4 or 5 sets, depending on if we do get a bracket reset. But what about the set we have first? We have Sleep versus Wemby Prime.
Good morning, Dapple Productions. Yeah, Sleep versus Wemby Prime, some good players. I mean, we're starting out in winners finals, so it's bound to be, good set here. So you look at the maps while we, read up a little bit on the players. I mean, pretty standard stuff across the board. Like, there's nothing here that would warrant an adverse reaction. Tower Control, Hagglefish Market, Rainmaker, Humpback Pump Track, Splat Zones on Mahi Mahi Resort, Clam Blitz on Scorch Gorge, and of course, the obligatory Tower Control Anklet Art Academy close out the set. So, nothing all too atypical. But, I mean, we're not in the game yet. I think it matters more to talk a little bit about players. So, who's on Sleep? Who's on Wemby Prime? Rocket.
Yeah, so for Sleep, you have Cairo, you have Mar, you have Chiva, and Kira. Kira, a name I am very familiar with. I have cross-paths with them a little bit just because of a lot of coaching that they've done in terms of being able to provide informational stuff about specifically shot players and weapons that kind of fall into that shooter category. They are one to play those weapons as well, such as a Gal, such as a Pro, such as a Shot, aforementioned. So that could be something that we see from Sleep. Wemby Prime, they have some of those players as well. Nalco, Zin, Blixum, I believe, and then Easy is their roster they have listed. But as you see on our screen, we're just jumping straight into it, and we take a look at these comps.
Some interesting stuff. Tetra's not something you see all too much these days, but Caro is a dedicated player of it, so it'll be interesting to see how they fare. I'll note that the 52 gal on Wemby Prime has 4,500 X power, which is a crazy accomplishment, and they're going to be taking that first kill here on the bottom side of the screen.
Yeah, and then a key difference as well that I'm noting is the pen coming out from Sleep, and then on Wemby Prime, they're that E leader. So you have a difference in psychology there in terms of how you want to approach your team in terms of that construction. As you see with the E leader, you can really just have it control a lot of area just with the deadly capabilities it has. Of course, just completely deleting a player off the map.
Yeah, they're going to be pushing past that first checkpoint now, but, these members of Sleep have pushed back in and starting to contest the control in front of the tower a little bit, so I'm not sure if they're going to be able to push a little bit forward, but they do win this team fight, and that's going to be 3 down onto Sleep, so they're going to be able to take this tower and keep pushing it past that first checkpoint and approach that contested second checkpoint.
Yeah, and the early aggression that they got to even get that first checkpoint, that momentum continuing with this push from Wemby Prime, and it's to be expected with their team comp when they're running a Gal, a Zap, and a Blaster. These are weapons you expect to want to be in your face and really push the pace of the game.
Yeah, I mean, that they're doing. They're winning all these team fights. That's how the Blaster and 52 definitely work, the top dog weapons here. So they're going to continue this push. But the 52 does go down the left side, so we'll see if ZX here on the left manages to maintain the push. Gets taken down by Chivas, though, so if anything, this is where the push is going to be stopped.
She just has that bubble, utilizing it now to really secure Sleep's hold on this left side. Just trying to get back into this mid area. Nice double from the Blaster to continue and move that momentum back into Sleep's favor. Now pushing into this mid area, now staggered. Wemby Prime now put on to the defensive side. You have both sides now just trading blows in this mid area as you have Sleep just trying to retake and at least regain some ground. But 2 minutes in, Wemby Prime pretty much controlling the table already from start to finish, and now just looking to see if they can hunker down.
Yeah, Sleep rushes in off the momentum from Chivas, but it gets ultimately taken down by Sleep, so it's a bit stalled in now. 2v2 situation, but the jumps coming in from Wemby Prime, it's such a neutral game. We ball does shoot another in the face, and that is going to swing momentum, I think, back into their side. Just going to poison to set up another push here with the bubble coming out on the left side, taking those ledges, another pick coming out from Sreejo on the 52. Walking up this ramp here, if they get a few more picks, this is going to be their push once again.
Yeah, and you have Citra on that Gal managing to find a nice double. This comp that Wemby Prime bringing, just 3 very aggressive weapons, all being able to support each other, just balanced out by that E-Leader with Weeball, pretty much just providing the beacon, providing that back support where if any player needs to fall back, Weeball is there just to get out that early aggression of anybody attempting to even dare go into their sidelines.
But not just the beacon though, an aggressive force in of themselves. I mean, they were taking players down when they were getting pushed earlier, back when Sleep managed to make it out of their base. But you see them take another pick down onto Chivas, and they're contesting this top right area, that laser being so deadly, stopping anyone from walking into their sight lines. So they're providing this cover too for Sarija and Nelkio to move up on now. Taking this tent area, super critical, dropping down actually. But now that's top right, you see how these players are swarming that top right area, and it's just super crucial for them to swarm the tower. So now, it's now approaching the third checkpoint, and it's not looking good.
Yeah, for Sleep, you constantly have players going down, and these specials are not even being able to be built to even get in a retake. So barring some miracle here, that may be a quick knockout, as it will be Wemby Prime taking that initial game one. Sleep constantly being put on the back foot throughout the entirety of that. It just seemed like from start to finish, you had Wemby Prime controlling the entirety of the flow of the game.
Yeah, I mean, they were dominantly in control of that whole game, in the driver's seat, so to say. And while Sleep at their moments, they managed to break out of that lockout. They never managed to maintain, and I feel like that's to the credit of the leader. I don't know if you saw, but the leader, as they pushed up through mid, they just took down that blaster, and the blaster for Sleep was such a crucial player to open the door up for them. So when they went down, they lost a lot of momentum, and so that I say that's to the credit of the leader, who's been not just a beacon like you said, but also like a controller. Like I know we have like different roles, but I want to point out this is a role concept by Reproductions, a organization in Japan, and they refer to leader not as like backline, not as anchor, but controller. And it's like an aggressive role that maybe isn't like flashy in the way that 52 does and runs in your face, but it's an aggressive force still, even if it's a slower and in the backline.
Yeah, and controlling, we definitely saw throughout the entirety of that match. Not only the frontline players from Sleep basically controlling their movements, but also restricting the pen on the side of Sleep as well. E-leader into pen is very nice. Of course, you do have that advantage of being able to just one-shot kill. You have the advantage of just being able to have that deadly laser, even just in the looking in the general vicinity view, that causes the pen to have to be more invested and more careful about their positions. As when we took a look at the comps overall from both sides, you had a similar concept where you had a backline being able to act as an anchor while having your other three weapons be front lines. But the problem is with Sleep, they were not really able to have those front lines thrive, as they were constantly going down to Wemby Prime's front lines. As we see now on Rainmaker Humpback, we have a slight change within the comps.
Interesting. You got two conflicting playstyles here. I think they were expecting the Ink Vac to come out, like Mar being an excellent, sorry, not Mar, Lee Ball being an excellent charger player, and making an excellent switch from the E-leader to the Splatter Scope, pulling out the Ink Vac, and so an excellent foil to it being that Kraken roller on that Glamour Splatter shot coming out from Chivas. So I like these adaptations, and it's like they knew each other's numbers before they come into this match.
Yeah, I'm guessing that is Kira on that shot. You have either side trading blows. Still pretty even within this mid area. You really just have left to this Gal on the side of Sleep, but with them going down, it's still not fully secured. Kira goes down there, and that will surely start off the push for Wemby Prime, as now they have that mid control. You have the Rainmaker as well, and right on cue, Lee Ball with that vacuum coming in for this checkpoint pop.
That vacuum coming out, securing that checkpoint. You might be maybe a little bit early, because that could snowball into something more and back down this choke point. But, an early checkpoint break in the first minute of the game, nothing bad, and this is a pretty solid start. But it's not over exactly, because Sarija pops that Rainmaker and blocks the forward, takes the points to 47. Not lead to scoff at on Rainmaker Humpback, but that's an excellent first minute 15.
Is, and usually on Rainmaker maps, these first checkpoints are the given. You typically win a team fight and then immediately are able to get to this point, but afterwards is where the true battle starts. You have Wemby Prime actually being able to sneak past. Hold on, we could see a quick knockout here if they're not careful. Oh, all the way down to 1 point there, but Wemby Prime being able to sneak it. I was about to mention how difficult it would be to push up this bunker area, but Wemby Prime already making it a very, very strong lead, just pretty much now needing a knockout for Sleep.
Okay, there's no lead you can feel safer with than 1 point remaining. It's going to be a knockout required from Sleep to walk all the way back into their base, throughout the whole of the map, and push that thing to a knockout if they want to win the game. That is a mountain to climb. I mean, they're starting now, popping the slider to secure that kill onto the blaster. player, and they're able to walk forward now, take some space to see the 52 gal, but they get pounced on by Nalkio and Cerejo together, who've been this excellent fighting force, and you see them moving forward and taking down another 3 picks, and what Sleep needed was a massive push, and they're not going to get it now, with them being primed back to Sleep.
It feels like every single time Sleep tries to make a move in mid, they keep getting punched in the teeth. I mean, you have the Gal constantly on the side of Wendy Prime, moving forward and contesting the bunker area. Pretty much Sleep has been left on this, just stranded on this left side for the majority of the match. In order for them to get back into that mid, they need to start getting their specials up and use them in conjunction, like you mentioned earlier, that Kraken can prove to be very useful to at least cause some disturbance and break the formation of 1v Prime.
But, I mean, they're going to be losing their Kraken going down this fight, and now the collapse is going to come in from Cereja and Co, but doesn't... okay, the house has got something to say about it, going to take one down from themselves, but with more trades happening, such a scrappy fight, and going down to the Charger, Weeball taking down a few more names here. I mean, all the momentum that they had just keeps getting lost. They needed to come together to win these team fights, but they keep locking up one by one and just going down here. So they're going to have to, with this minute 40 remaining, they're going to have to get a whole lot more control, a whole lot more, I don't know, how to say, like, their team play in order if they want to come back from this, and the Kraken's going to be an excellent start.
Yeah, here it comes, trying to isolate to that Rainmaker, still alive and now being stalled out on the bottom left side with a minute 20 remaining. You can start thinking now with 1v Prime, just stalling it around this area, daring any member of Sleep to even threaten them. You have 2 specials available for 1v Prime to even make it better. Here comes that splashdown, not able to find a pick, but at least isolating this Cal in this dangerous left side corner. Still managing to stay alive, however, and they find one of the Siege. Couldn't really find the second onto the Rainmaker. They find 3 in total, and that is a full wipeout. This is the exact momentum you need for Sleep to potentially bring things back, but a lot going against them. First and foremost, they need to worry about at least getting that checkpoint pop.
Alright, 50 seconds to make the largest climb they could possibly make here. Kraken's going to come out and secure the area in front of the checkpoint, so it's up to Mars to dunk that Rainmaker. Now getting that checkpoint finally after 4 minutes 20 seconds, but they have to win this fight ahead of the Rainmaker if they want to get this. And they have to fight into that vac, which might be coming up soon, and it's going to win them that team fight. But they can also just walk forward and just shoot them. Down goes Zombie, Karo on that Tetra, and also Chiba too. And Cereja walks forward claiming 3 names and stopping that push here. 22 seconds, not impossible to set up this overtime retake, but it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, as you see 1v Prime now, they know that all they have to do is just hold it in this mid area. You have Naiko now moving it into that bottom left. You have Kira potentially being one to contest it, but with Weeball pulling out that vacuum, it does look like that will just be a long shot. Well, unless Zombie can say something about it, they managed to get in from behind. It just left to Weeball as that last player, and they are not out of it yet. Sleep here with an overtime push. Not impossible like you mentioned earlier, but a tough hill to climb. That Reach Slider did not find much value, as in fact that Tetris went down. 2 players down in total on the side of Sleep. 1v Prime have 3 to their name. Now can just hunker down on this elbow position. You have Weeball trying to snipe in from behind, but are there any players in front of the Rainmaker? You have Yes just now moving onto this left side, trying to dive towards that Rainmaker pedestal, just dancing, prancing, trying to get onto that Rainmaker. They will take the lead in overtime. What looks like a nearly impossible game to lose for 1v Prime. You had Sleep clutching it out at the very ends to make the set even.
We talked about, like, the mountain climb that was winning this game, and for, like, arguably 4 minutes and 44 seconds of this 5-minute game, they were on the back foot, repeatedly getting punched down over and over. All their attempts to enter mid shut down immediately by the power of Cereja on the 52 gal and their teammates as well. And somehow, in the final moments of this game, in the 11th hour, they managed to bring that push from literally 0 to 100, knocking out Rainmaker back on track and securing them, you know, a game in this set. Wow. Damn.
I mean, you see the attacking capabilities of either side where they can turn a game on a dime. I mean, I feel like both sides, within their pushes, it only took them like 20 seconds, 20 or 30 seconds for either side to do 100-0. And with Sleep, the miraculous thing that from Sleep as well was the fact that the Rainmaker wasn't taken out despite being in visual range of several players, including 1v Prime's Charger staring at them. They were just dancing around that pedestal, but that says more to the excellent play from the rest of Sleep, I believe, is the Gal and some other players around the area, just eliminating any threats to the Rainmaker and providing them that window of opportunity. And sometimes that's all it takes, just a split second to pop that Rainmaker move around the pedestal and then bring it all home. So what looks like a potential 2-0 for 1B Prime has now made it a best of 3 potential, basically, as we are now moving to game 3 Mahi Mahi zones.
Yeah, evening up the set now, and so what could have been a devastating lead against them, Sleep has now got some life in the set, and we're going to be moving on to zones Mahi Mahi to start this in, like you said, mini best of 3. And so I'm wondering what any adaptations will be. I feel like the Glamour Splatter Shot was very much a choice for Rainmaker, especially, you know, reading them and thinking that the Ink Vac was going to come out. They were right, and damn, did it work out. So we're going to be seeing what weapons come out on their side. Switching over to the leader core, actually bring out the leader Zap and 52 Gal and fighting just about the same thing. So now it's a test of, I mean, who does it better.
Yeah, really the only difference between the comps, and as a matter of fact, the only difference between the comps is the Tetra from Sleep and 1B Prime running that blaster. Now, this map, you have a lot of advantages with running that blaster, being able to camp under those ledges, but why would you think that either side would probably be running the Tetras? I mean, the Tetras has been pretty consistent for Sleep with that reach slider.
I think Karo just loves the gun, and Karo is a good pilot of it, so not to say that it's like a demon in the meta currently. It has struggles into Blaster 52, but Karo's just good and can play it regardless, so they're going to be sticking on that gun and keeping it, and it's a nice foil because that Reef Slider's going to be able to contest that zone with relative ease, so, you know, even if it's not the top dog in the meta right now, it's going to work here on Zones Mahi. And they had a pretty good first push, taking down to 60, lowering their water, but it's going to swing back in control of MP Prime now, and it's up to them to break this lockout that they're setting up.
Yeah, and with the rest of the comps from either side, it's going to come down to really mechanical skill and timing from either side, maintaining this pain control as well. And 1B Prime is doing that straight to a T, just being able to crunch on any players that Dare drops into them, as he's the Sleep players dropping in one by one, losing their Zap, their Gal, and now their E-Leader as well. Now in a very dangerous situation, the timer still ticking down, nearing that 35 mark as well. This retake coming up soon, it could potentially be the last one if it goes awry.
This is the third team fight in a row they won. They have to win this one now with only 26 remaining, but the Kara's gonna go down on the Reef Slider first, and so does the the Zap. And so with 10-6 remaining, I think the Zap doesn't get 2 picks, and so they have to put some paint on the zone now. They do manage to contest it at 5 points remaining, and they just kind of have to secure it. So if they lose it, it's gonna be all over. But they do manage to apply that penalty point, 72 points now for 1B Prime to work through. And they don't manage to control the zone after that. They've only applied that penalty, and now they're back to square zero. So it is like they've secured another life in this game, but that's a devastating lead, and they haven't really gotten their footing back. Right now, they're still 2 down again, and they just haven't gotten like a foot in mid yet.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the map, it is all orange in that mid area, and so you have the potential for Sleep to get all your specials out, but just going in already with that Gal, trying to find those initial picks, but the picks aren't going the way of Sleep. Now penalty points very much dangerously close with that delayed wipeout as well. It is now a go time, no time to get any more specials. You just need to win your fights. A desperation throw. Here comes that Reef Slider from Zombie to flip the zone, but it is not enough paint. You're still very much in danger here, but Sleep do have the numbers. 2v1 in that mid area, and it will be Sleep holding on to that zone, barely surviving and barely keeping themselves in this. And remember how they won that previous game too. It is still anybody's game. Just 2 minutes left in this match.
They just want to make this cinema, push it and let him get done all the way down to 1 point remaining, and they're going to have to do that again. Mara's going to trade out here with Reball, and she was going to pick up on it, getting a total of 3 picks. And, you know, this is their turn to push. 40 points will go by in the blink of an eye. So now it's Sleep setting up this lockout here, and 52 does go down, which isn't an excellent start, but Splashdown gets expended off the zone here.
Yeah, Splashdown used early, not onto that zone, still very much blue in this mid area. No penalty points to worry about for Sleep as well. You have to get your specials up, and your cooler just to fight with on the side of 1B Prime, but either side just trying to paint over, playing turf war in that mid area. Wolf losing 2, Zombie still alive, close to a Reef Slider as well, but it's just left to the E-Leader on 1B Prime, so they can very much confidently push into this with a camp jump to boot. They don't manage to get that jump, the Blaster managing to get the better of them, but the trade is there. players, so crisis averted. You have Sleep still here. Very nice shot from Yes as well to secure it, as well as that trade. Sleep winning these picks now. With stronger hold at mid. It's a minute to go.
6 remaining for them to win this game here, and they are 2 down at the moment. They have to watch out for Sarija pushing out from that right side and using that whale and chipping down all the members. So they're going to get pushed off the zone. It's going to go into a neutral state. They're not going to be able to put any points now. Slashing's going to come out, but doesn't cap the zone fully. So they're still, hold on, they didn't get any additional penalty points applied, and they're still 2 down. And the third pick comes out. It's just the leader remaining, and they only have to push 10 more ticks to win this game. So they're just moving on from the left side, and they're going to apply some paint on the zone. But they have to go like now if they want to apply some paint. They do manage to put it in neutral and cap the zone, and 2 points remaining. So Wemby Prime barely stopping that loss, and now it's so neck and neck. And Sleep is still in the driver's seat here. They do have to push the zone to KO the game if they want to win this one. But it's as close as it could possibly be.
Yeah, you have Zombie with that Reach Slider, 2 specials available, Splashdown already being utilized. Here comes that Reach Slider. Will it find the necessary paint? Yes, it will, and most importantly, Zombie still left alive. Now, moving along this right side to create a pincer area. Here is now overtime. All these picks are going to be so crucial. Strider moving in on that left side, goes down and explodes within that zone, but the rest of Wemby Prime are there. They're all on that right side, and with the overwhelming yellow paint, the 3v2 goes into the favor of Team Yellow. Wemby Prime now in advantage in this set, making it a 2-1 with 1 more to go if they want to take it.
I mean, in these past 2 games, doing something really terrible to my blood pressure here. Taking it all the way to 1 point and then get to 2 as well, just for the cinema. And so, Wemby Prime leading the set. They had a much more dominant game 1 than game 2 and 3. I mean, obviously with game 2 they ended up losing the thing, but now it's giving me a bit more hope for Sleep in the set. So you've seen what they can do, and now they're going to be going over to Scorch, and I'm wondering what weapons they're going to change to. I like that Mar is a pen player, and you can see how I messed that one up. Mar being on the pen player, or on the pen here for Scorch Clams is, I think, a good choice here, because I feel like Leader doesn't have all the sight lines that you might want. It can get set up on the mid tower, but I feel like it's a little bit more obscure than what the pen can do, and I'm wondering if that's the play here, because they do have that Tetra, they do have another 2 aggressive players in the 52 and in the potential blaster as well. So I'm wondering if that is the adaptation to make here onto Clam Scorch. I think that, I mean, no, that's not the thought, really. I think that that'd be a good adaptation to make, and I don't see them changing off that leader core.
Yeah, the leader has been, like you mentioned previously, the controller, and really has been the ones to be able to influence what Sleep can and can't do. Of course, you can maybe think of it as that second game being a potential misstep, and then this might have been a 3-0 already, but Sleep have shown fight throughout the entirety of this set so far. I mean, these teams neck and neck, and with what we saw in that previous games, of course, with their comps being so similar, with the only difference being 1 weapon. Yet again, now 3 games deep. Let's see if these teams have found those adaptations. A very similar comp from what we saw, I believe, in game 2, but with both sides now running that VAC instead of an E-leader.
I was thinking about a switch. Didn't think it'd be the Ink Vac on both sides, but I like this choice. Ink Vac pushes nicely onto that ramp, which is the most contested point in this map. So if there's any special that can force it, it's going to be the combination of that Ink Vac and the Reef Slider, which they've got here on Sleep. So if they want to even up the set, that's what I'm going to be looking for. That coordinated team play coming out with all the specials together. But you see this first team fight starting out, not a whole lot going on. Trades on both sides, but they have to look out for Sarija on this top tower, who's been such a menace and has been taking initiative in these team fights, but they do go down to Caro, so it's going to be even again, with Sleep slightly in control here, moving up that ramp now.
Slightly in control, but do they have the clams there to make this push really hurt? You have 1 player at 7, and there is the power clam. Here comes that Reef Slider as well to catch out Sheriff, and now here needs to be the follow-up. You have your Zap going back with another power clam, potentially now making it into that 40-point mark. Yep, there you go, all the way down to 45. A great start for Sleep with only a minute within this match, and those clams can keep flowing. You need to regroup if you're on the side of Wemby Prime, but they do the opposite. 3 down, with Sleep continuing to push the momentum and continuing to stall out Gal. Such a powerful weapon because of its ability to stall with that wall, and you see its effects there with now Sleep all the way down to that 21-point mark. And finally, Wemby Prime picks going into their favor, forcing 3 players down and slowing the bleeding.
Caro did such an excellent job there, continuing to take fights and just stop them from dropping out of that top left area to be able to defend the basket. He's going to net them a lead of 79 points. That is a hell of a lot of points to score for them to get back this lead. But, you know, you've seen how the set's been going, and at this point, I feel confident in saying that a safe lead is a lead to knockout. So it's not to say that Wemby Prime is in a position where they can't win the game, but it's going to be a difficult one.
I mean, after those Game 2 and Game 3s, I don't know what to believe in terms of a safe lead anymore, but you are right in terms of it just being a knockout. Just end the game and don't give it, just make it a 0% chance that you could lose it instead of a potential 1. But Wemby Prime now slowly and surely trying to make their way into this mid area. They do have a power claim to utilize. Both sides have a vacuum activated, so we'll have to see if that leads to anything. But with 2 down on the side of Sleep, here comes the momentum, and here comes the rest of Wemby Prime moving up with these whales as well. Now, bunkering these Sleep players into the elbow, both Vacs being simultaneously pops and creating a stall fest in this right side area, but it does look like you have Wemby Prime just trying to force things. They do manage to find the power claim in, but there might not be much follow-up unless we have a continued stalling out like we saw from Sleep.
They don't have very strong control in the basket. I feel like, oh, just kidding. They shoot the Charger and they shoot Caro too. This is 3 down and they still have more times to follow. So this can be their opportunity to take the lead. If they take down this NZAP though, NZAP does get the pick onto the Blaster. So what I thought might have been an opportunity to get the lead here is only just going to be them chipping away at the score. So now it's just going to be like, what, 3 power clams or so for them to take the lead, closing that gap a little bit, but not quite there yet. So 2 minutes to play. They're gonna have to collect more clams and, you know, recreate what they just did there with that Vac pushing up that ramp to get this lead away from Sleep.
Yeah, absolutely. They didn't need to fully take the lead. They still have plenty of time, but at least chipping away at it is a good start. But you can take the first step, but you're still behind by, like you mentioned, 3 power clams. So it's gonna either have to be a very monstrous second push, or it's gonna be very good 2 more pushes that come along here. But Sleep are gonna try to make sure there's no opportunity for that as they try to work and extend up their lead. That splashdown caught out a lot of players on the side of Sleep, but and basically killing that push before it made it up the ramp area. So free power clam to the side of Wemby Prime might have been a misplay from Sleep. Now with the necessary amount of ammo they need and some more as well, as that is 4 power clams I see on the map for Wemby Prime.
Yeah, including that pity clam. This could be devastating, but, you know, Mario is holding it down now, shooting one in the head. Surja been that, you know, player that initiates these fights, but ends up going down themselves, so now it's just a fight in front of the basket. There's 2 down onto Sleep, and now they're gonna have this opportunity to walk up the basket, and they definitely have the clams to win this game. They have 4 power clams. If you ever seen this come out from a team, gonna dunk in all 4 of them, and it's gonna be Wemby Prime winning this set 3-1 against Sleep in, I mean, crazy fashion, pulling out all the stops, all the clams, all at once. Don't need a sustained push. Let's just close this up, pack it up, go home.
Yeah, and a very decisive, the most decisive game out of all that, just because of how close the other 3 games were. Wemby Prime being able to withstand, despite them going down pretty early, despite that early aggression and stalling out that Sleep did very, very well. I believe the simple mistake they had was that secondary push that they did to try to extend the lead just really didn't go their way. Wemby Prime had that blaster, the splashdown, to cause the disruption in the Vac cycle that you saw that Sleep was trying to utilize again, trying to copy some of their elements of their first push. And that led to the momentum switch. It led to Wemby Prime being able to retake mid. It gave them that power clam and then ultimately allowed them to push Sleep away. And that is what happened in that set. A 3-1 for Wemby Prime. They move on to finals. Sleep still have a potential chance at revenge, but they'll have to make it through losers bracket finals before they get to that moment.
Yeah, so it looks like we're going to be dropping... Are we dropping into losers quarters or into losers semis? I think they're playing at the moment. That's going to be... Okay, so we're going to be skipping losers quarters, which means you and I got a lot of time to talk here. Them being 0-0 in their set currently, that's a best of 3. So, I mean, looking at these teams, Lyric, Tan, Sora 49er, these being the SOS, you know, regulars versus Milk, Nemika, Femi, and Vibes. Sorry, I got sidetracked by the hashtag. Also being pretty strong players that appear in the Great White Bracket. I mean, or Rock and Icom to SOS mostly, so that's where I'm recognizing players here. That's gonna be a hell of a wait. Low-key, let's go to a break unless you got things to say.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that. Let's go to a break. We will return with losers bracket semis here shortly.
Goodbye.
Splatoon Stronghold, a stronghold for competitive Splatoon, providing resources to long-timers and newcomers alike. If you're new to the competitive scene or still figuring out how to join, we have a getting started guide and plenty of other resources to help you in your journey. If you are a seasoned veteran, we still have plenty to offer. You can find and join tournaments as well as participate in our Captain Forum and find free agents and teams. Our mission is to make competitive Splatoon easily accessible to everyone. So what are you waiting for? Join the Splatoon Stronghold today!
Hello, friends, and welcome back. Alex 278. Not that guy. I'm ready to put on a show versus We Win in it. I mean, we're jumping in the losers bracket semi-finals here between these two teams on a best of 3. How you doing, Rocket? How's your break?
Pretty well. Like you mentioned, we were on a very bit of a break because we had already seen who had made it to the grand finals, 1B Prime, and now we're just left to 4 teams, these being 2 of them in losers bracket semis, best of 3. I'm ready to put on a show versus We Win in it, like you mentioned. Taking a look at things initially, kicking things off, Rainmaker, Scourge, Gorge is our game 1. We saw a Scourge match earlier, but it was on Clan Blitz, not Rainmaker.
Yeah, I mean, I think this one will play pretty nicely in these two teams. I see a sword player, which is a delight for me on We Win in it, but they're going to be playing into I'm ready to put on the show's InkVac. And, you know, surprisingly, this is going to be the second Tetra we see in a row here. Not a weapon we see a lot of nowadays, but I think Slider's going to be excellent for pushing up that final ramp lead into the KO. And as we saw last set, KOs are necessary to win the video game. So we're going to have to push that thing all the way down to 0 points remaining if we want to get this win secured. So, you know, they've got the tools to do it. And again, that Slider coming out from Lyric on the Tetra, and probably an InkVac coming out from someone on the 96, and ran that with a pencil and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, they got, yeah, look at that. They're gonna have all the resources, and heavy deco. Sorry, I got stunned. I like this, actually, because similar to last set, where they wanted to play into the InkVac, but they bring out the Kraken. And so, what they got here? The Kraken. Excellent choice. Them playing coolest, by the way, just want to point that out.
Yeah, and you also have the choice on We Winning in it for Tiger, Sal from Distinct on that V-roll. That bubble can provide a very nice pushing point. With both sides now having one of those, you have the back from the side of I'm ready to put on a show, and We Win in it having that bubble, but no longer, as that is a quick wipeout already with I am ready to put on a show. Quick checkpoint, 30 seconds in, and full guns ahead.
Talk about pushing power, but how about living? So it's going to be, I'm ready to put on a show, moving up here. I already expended the vax, so they're just going to die for points here. 43 is a nice lead, not a game-winning lead, but good points for the first 50 seconds. And so they're going to choose back off this Rainmaker, regroup a little bit. Look at Don Quixote moving all the way up and getting picked, by the way. So they're starting to reclaim the space ahead of their Rainmaker now. But they're 2 down again, so they're going to extend that bubble to just protect it. But now, wait, what? We're not behind them again as Rainmaker was an 18.
I don't know what's in the water today with these fast breaks, but yet again, we see another one on the Rainmaker map with now, again, that lead being pushed so far ahead. Tan being able to poke along that left side does die for it, though, so now we have a lot of space being potentially regained from We Winning in it, unless there's no remote to help Kamek. Kamek's trying to stay alive, stalling out 49er. Both fall for it, and we are reset back to pretty much a neutral stance with either side now racing for that initial big control. But what a chaotic minute and 30 seconds it's already been within this match, as I'm ready to put on a show, sitting very comfortably.
So I'm still stunned. They had like the Kraken set up like in their charge attack, ready to hit that Rainmaker, and then 49er just breaks their ankles and walks straight forward. Now, speaking of breaking their ankles, Don Quixote's going to walk through the InkVac and just take it down, so it's going to clear the ramp area from that first checkpoint, which is what they need if they want to get a push going. But there's the 49er behind them, but that Octobrush gets taken down by Don Quixote again. So now it's their turn to move forward and capitalize off the space created by them. But the teammates were on the recall here, so they weren't able to walk back in. Noting that they didn't have the cooler, so they weren't able to walk back in quickly after that team fight, which is going to give them, or make them a lot more slower in playstyle. Have to win these fights if they want to move forward, because if they lose, it's going to be a while before they get set up for the next one.
Yeah, for the side of I am ready to put on a show, it's just a story of controlling, and they may be losing a bit of that control, especially with We Winning in it having 3 specials to utilize. Zipcaster being one of those, they go down, but that bubble provides the golden pathway for We Winning in it to at the very least get that Rainmaker checkpoint pop. Now, can they go any further? That is the question. You have Kamek with that Kraken out, acting as a personal bodyguard. 49er staying alive throughout the entirety of that, unable to help the rest of their team move up with that, though, as We Winning in it punch back. As that is a very solid defense for I'm ready to put on a show, just hunkering down on that elbow area and making sure nobody takes by.
That's going to be a staggered wipeout, getting put onto We Win in it. And so they expended so many resources and their lives for a push to 44, and they know that they have to get to 18. So I'm wondering, maybe they need to slow it down and wait for something else before they get to make that push. But now it's going to be them on the back foot here, having to take this fight near their ramp. But out comes the Zipcaster, it's going to take down the Rainmaker, and so it's going to buy them, you know, a little bit of stalling, because they can't push that objective anymore. And, I mean, it's so neutral now. Like, they managed to stop the objective, so the imminent danger is gone. But there's still 2 downs, 2v2 situation mid, and not a whole lot of progress is being made. So this is great for I'm Ready to put on the show. The minute 30 left, all they have to do, and since they're in the lead, all they have to do is just take down this timer, and what they're doing now is excellent.
Yeah, and conversely on the other side, we winning in it needs to break that stalling factor. I mean, you already have Tan using that vac, so you don't have to worry about it. Tiger has have a bubble to utilize to act as a staging ground, and they are going to try to use it onto this right side. Barely managing to stay alive, assisting in 2 picks there, so this could be the pathway that we winning in it needs in order to get back into this game. You have Kamek with the Kraken, but they choose to pick up that Rainmaker, so that Kraken not going to be utilized. Could be a potential misplay here, unless you have a different initiation special for who's winning in it. That could come out from the Zipcaster, going in, trying to cut some players down, but being cut down themselves. 49er being able to go in from behind onto Kamek. So now it is near desperation time for we winning in it to get back into this one. You have the Kraken, you have the Octobrush special available, as well as the Zipcaster on the side of I'm Ready to put on a show that is just waiting, daring anybody from we winning in it to move forward, as you just have all 3 of those specials active and like sharks to a blood-infested water. You just have them waiting here.
Just choosing to expend or hold these specials for the very end. Out comes the slider now, but hold on, they grab the Rainmaker all the way behind. Gets taken down by the Zipcaster though, so it's gonna leave 10 seconds remaining, but they are 2 down. So if they can move forward fast enough, they can pop this Rainmaker, but they do have to grab it since they were the last one to hold it if they want to trigger this overtime. So they need to win this pop battle. They do have the sword popping it, but someone has to pick it up. They do. Kamek grabs the Rainmaker, so we're gonna be going into an overtime here, Rocket.
Yeah, overtime looming. Kamek has that Rainmaker, and here we go. It just needs one player to take out Kamek, and it can be game over, but we winning in it does have a bubble to utilize. They take out, Kamek takes out 1, so 2v3, numbers advantage in we winning in its favor. You have that vacuum coming out from Tan to just stall out. Kamek now pushed to this left side. Queen is there, potentially to stall out, but here's Tiger as well. 2 players down, 4v2, 4v1 now, just left to that pen. Just stalling out. Kamek slowly but surely moving their way. Can't move too fast though. 49ers there with the Zipcaster. It gets immediately shut down. Here goes 3 players down, and that will do it with we winning, and it's being able to get it in overtime. Very nice patience from Kamek to not rush in too quickly before their team could give them a path, as you saw. Several specials were utilized on the side of I am ready to put on a show to potentially cause disruption, but it was just wonderful placement and wonderful positioning that eventually won it for we winning in it.
That's what we need to see on that first push. You saw they overextended a little bit, got too hasty on that push, the Rainmaker to 44. And so in overtime, when it mattered most, they come back, do it perfectly, stalling out every single special. Like you saw at the very end there, like I was waiting in bated breath as the 49 Zipcaster came out, and I saw it like attached to the wall, but it just gets taken down. And so they were able to move forward safely. Excellent patience waiting at all of the threats, securing that lead in the first game here in this loser bracket semifinals. Moving into this Plat Zone's Hacklefish Market, which honestly, I think it lends more into their favor. Like, you were talking about them having competition that's more stally, more capable of controlling a place. And, you know, they got the resources like heavy splatling, excellent for holding ground, being a stable anchor. And that V-roller with that bubble, able to just stop just about anyone. Excellent for being put on the zone, but also when you move forward into the core area, it's going to claim, like, such a safe spot for you to take that fight. So, they've got so many resources available for them to make this map, just on, at least on paper, and be one of theirs.
Yeah, especially on the front line as well with that roller. Fights really nicely, Tiger fights really nicely into 49ers Kraken, not Kraken, Octobrush, and it really creates that frontline pressure that's eventually allowed we win in it to slowly but surely just control space. And that's something that I'm ready to put on a show needs to be able to contest with, whether it be a comp switch, whether it be just being able to get some more paint on the ground. They need to space them out, and I believe that switch from Tan moving away from the 96 into the Forge Pro could prove to be a bit of a difference maker, especially with that Booyah Bomb, but on the other side you also have that switch to the bucket.
I do like this coming out from both sides. I mean, Tan being known for the Forge Pro, actually, the 96 being a Rainmaker exclusive choice. So it's nice to hear it coming out of them. And I think that Booyah Bomb is going to take care of things like the bubble with more ease. So I think it's a better choice for the zone anyways. And the choice of the bucket, I mean, it's a strong one. These tri-strikes will cap that zone immediately. So looking for those specials when we get to the point of the game where we just got to close it out.
Yeah, but early paints, you already see the benefit of choosing that pro instead. Tiger 49er trade each other out within that bubble area. Both sides front line goes down, so now it's just up to the rest of the teams to poke away at that zone. Still very much contested within that mid area, but eventually now more favored to I'm ready to put on a show. But none of Zur has anything to say about it on that flank.
They're trying to move up a little bit to get something going, but gets taken down by the pencil player, so it's going to be reset here. And, you know, it's going to have to break this lockout that's starting to get set up. I mean, it's not fully a lockout yet. You know, Kamek's going to be here on the 10, able to apply pressure to the zone and put it in neutral, actually. But look forward to her. Tiger's put a bubble up all the way on the left flank, so it's going to be them walking forward safely with the help of their play. And now it's their turn to set up their own lockout. Interested to see what specials are going to be online soon. That Wave Breaker is not going to do a whole lot, Loki, but other things coming out, like the strikes in the whale, are going to be able to sustain that aggression needed to force them back in their base.
Yeah, and all specials pretty much available for I Am Ready to Put on a Show, and all of them being utilized, but still, the zone was not capped during that, so that might have been a very, very huge impact plays from We Win It In It to just take out the Zipcaster, in particular 49er, being shut down before it could find that value, but still holding onto the zone and no penalty to their name. You have this flanking bucket on this right, so being able to pinch with the rest of We Win It In It. 49er coming back to see if they can help out their team, but Zur is there with the quick trade. Zone still in contention, as I Am Ready to Put on a Show do not have a strong hold on it, as you have Zur yet again still flanking around.
You're finally taking down that raid boss has been defeated, so now I'm ready to put on a show with control of the zone now, and it's going to be them able to take this lead with only 12 ticks before they do so. And so, you know, they're going to pop some specials to stop this. I mean, they're going to try to control that tent, but Zer's going to take down the Zipcaster, and Cell's going to walk forward with that bubble, putting neutral on the zone and capping it by applying penalty points 43. So lead of 33 is not a whole lot to scoff at, but it is still a lead, and that's, I mean, well, that's about it, really. Getting lead excellent now, but not a whole lot of control ahead of it.
Free slider used on this left side from Queen to see if they can catch out any players, but no dice there. They still managed to take out Tiger, though. 3 players down in total on the side of We Win It In It, and now the momentum has definitely changed into I Am Ready to Put on a Show's favor. You have We Win It In It now, just trying to build back those specials. Still a bit of time before those penalty points do go away. Booyah Bomb used really early here on the side of Tan, as well as that cooler just to maintain the fight. The strikes on the other side to create a little bit of that contention. Tiger does have a bubble to utilize, which will be really huge for these retakes to maintain positions. You have Zur going down actually on that left side. Huge pick from Tan to keep that momentum within their favor, but eventually We Win It In It with overwhelming numbers on that left side will take that zone.
They're going to be locked back in here, but, you know, I'm Ready to Put on a Show did manage to extend their lead down to 18, so putting more points on the board, opening the gap a little bit wider. And so now, but they're going to walk back in and take down 2 more players, so We Win It has been like getting back into the zone, but they haven't been holding the zone. And you get more of a secure control ahead if they want to take this lead back from I'm Ready to Put on a Show, who've been consistently taking down more points than, you know, with every single time they cap the zone. So now it's them on the back foot again.
And on almost to those strikes, taken out pretty early there, so those strikes will not be had, but it may not even matter, as even at the very least, we'll get the cap onto the zone to stall the bleeding a little bit. Minute remaining now, crunch time. In order to get in a stronger retake, We Winning In It needs to really push up with their specials that they have. Those strikes should be coming along soon. Tiger does have the bubble coming along as well, but there needs to be a momentum shift here if We Winning In It wants to get back into it. Strikes used. Here comes the rest of the players from We Winning In It to try to get into that zone, but 49ers there causing that disruption. 1-for-1 trade will be had now within the 30-second mark. They will eventually get to that strong push they needed with 3 players down on I Am Ready to Put on a Show.
This is exactly what they need. Roller goes forward and takes down 2 with the help of the bucket player Don Quixote and Sal teaming up to get those picks. And now they've broken through the penalty, and it's probably going to be a lead switch here because they only have a little bit to go through being told more ticks. But the 2 go down, which is enough time to lock back in here. But and then the 2 down go on to I'm Ready to Show 2. So Cash comes out, takes down the spotting, and they do cap that zone down at 18 points. They just have to put some more paint on it if they want to secure the zone, and it's now into overtime. It's just a battle for paint. But 2 go down onto We Win It, and they're not going to be able to maintain enough paint to secure that game. And so this set's going to be 1-1 now.
And you saw the constant disruption that I Am Ready to Put on a Show put on during the entirety of the second half of that match, and near the end there as well, on those final 2 big team fights. 49er on that Octobrush was able to get the necessary picks to turn the tides of the game, especially near the end where they were able to find one and really flip the zone and numbers advantage into their favor. So what was a very great adaptation for I'm Ready to Play on the Show was simply their comp, and maybe they needed a mode change as well. You saw the impact of the reslider a lot more from the Tetras, and we saw the impact a lot more from Tan, specifically with their special, the Booyah Bomb, just constantly slowing down whatever We Winning In It was attempting to go. So now we'll go to a Game 3, Inkblot Tower, where I think we could see some very similar comps from what we just saw.
Honestly, it wouldn't shock me. You want to bring out the Tri-Strikes, you want to bring out that Booyah Bomb. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, especially if you're Tan being a Forge Pro main. So, I'd stick on that thing. And I'll point out how excellent those Booyah Bombs were. They were held for just the right time, where they were reading those strikes that were about to come out from Don Quixote on the Slosher. And so they would throw that Booyah Bomb as they were approaching to walk forward. That Booyah Bomb would cut them off. And so all the value that would have been gained by the Tri-Strikes is just some pain in the zone, and you can just shoot that thing. So they paint over the strikes and aren't able to capitalize off it fully, and that's just because they were foiled by an excellently placed Booyah Bomb. And so special uses like that is what I'm going to be looking for here, especially because the Booyah Bomb is going to be so essential for clearing that top left area so people can be smuggled into bats. Like, once you get that Tetra into bats, it's a little bit dangerous because they have such good terrain to fight with. And, I mean, that's where you have to retake from. Being that area above the, it's like the upper area, you get it. So they have got the resources, got the team play to, secure this one, and personally, I'm thinking it leans a little bit more in their favor.
Yeah, absolutely, and I love how you mentioned the bats area as well, because it is also very important for the other side, where you have Sal Tiger on that bubble roller, and you also have the strikes. Both teams have those two specials that can really initiate and maintain control of that important area. So unless we see a complete shifting in ideology, we should be expecting those weapons to remain pretty much the same. They do, at least for one side. You do have a blaster on the other, though. That bucket will not remain the same. Instead, a splashdown Sea Blast is going to be the change.
A little bit less safe on the GG side, but if you just knock it out before overtime, then you don't even need it. So Don Quixote's been an excellent aggressive force for the side if we win in it, and if anything's strong right now, it's going to be Sea Blaster, so they're going to be piling the weapon, and it's going to be a great foil into both the Zipcaster, the Octobrush is the main weapon, and the Tetra abilities too. So I think it's a strong aggressive choice here for we win in it, and no other changes besides, actually no, I lied, that's it.
Yeah, you have that early numbers advantage going into the win in it, but still, mid-side fight, still very undecisive as the whales coming out, maybe shifting the tides a little bit. 49er going down, 1-for-1 trade will be had on that left side, and usually within these tower control maps, the first checkpoint going to be that given. You have Queen going down on that flank, and already you have the Sea Blast within that flow state.
Yeah, so now they're going to be walking up that second checkpoint. They do have the resources to make this push something that's held, but they have to get ahead of the tower if they want to get it. Out comes Splashdown, which is going to trade out with Lyric on the Tetras, and it's just going to be Sal and Bats here taken down by Tan, so they're going to effectively collapse on the tower, taking down that push at 56 points, which is not an average push for Tower Control Inkblot, not one that wins games, but it's certainly one that's like, it's an excellent starting push to say. And maybe they're not done yet, just kidding, they're going to get folded on by the remaining members coming out from the Bats now, and breaking the neck a little bit, snapping around and taking down that player behind them. And so it's going to be we win it now on the back foot, going 3 down now as Lyric moves up into the Bats area, starting their own push.
Yeah, it was an okay push to at least get to that checkpoint. Reslider breaking through there, you were talking about how impactful it can be on that Bats area, and we saw it found the pick necessary to get at least some value. You have now the Booyah Bomb coming up from Tan as well to go yet again onto that elbow position, but Tan blows things up, but Tiger blows things up there from behind as we win it in it. Has recollected themselves and made sure that it didn't affect them too much in breaking their discipline, and were able to secure that with Kamek as well, knifing out that flank and stage.
Note that this is a cooler-less team versus a cooler team, so you saw how fast I'm Ready to Put on a Show was able to just walk back in, and Lyric was able to just spawn in on their Bats, fighting from behind. Not that they got like a lot of personal value, but they were able to discombobulate them, and so it's just gonna let them walk back in here and continue their push. And they don't have the most secure space ahead of the tower. It's just gonna be Tan, who's on half health, alone in Bats now as the Pets goes down, and so they're not gonna be able to get this lead here with with a 1-point differential. But you can see the pace of play and how things can get haywire just because the lack of that special, that safety net being the cooler on We Win in it.
Yeah, but the trade-off with that is you have an additional special to utilize within your pushes, but it makes mistakes like that where you lose track of 49er all the more painful. 3 players going down, just Tiger remaining just to at least find something. The Tiger does find 2 though, so that is a very nice punchback, but like you were mentioning, without a cooler, just any misplay or any, you do lose that sustainability as well without having it, so. Slowdown was winning in it, but they do have that mid at least a little bit here. They can maybe stage another push.
It's a look contested. You saw all the members look away from from Tiger on the roller, who gets jumped by 49er, and 49er's gonna move forward trying to take out that heavy splatting now. Not able to get a pick there, but like that team fight just went a little bit awry, not having the right target priority, and so what was a decent hold or advantage at least in footing in mid now goes away. But despite that, they're able to walk back in here, and they're pushing that tower up to the first checkpoint, but they get called out on separate battles, taking them maybe too many fights all at once, going 3 down now, and 49er's gonna be the one advancing the best now, gets the last pick for a full wipeout now, so they're gonna be breaking that, 1-point differential lead quite soon, and they do have the specials to ensure it. Out comes to be a bump from 10, and out comes the Zipcaster from 49er, and they're gonna be continuing this aggressive push now.
Yeah, so pretty much securing this lead with that wipeout as well. This could be very dangerous. A minute remaining and that second checkpoint surely falling now. And halfway to another Booyah Bomb as well, if they can stay alive, as well as Queen with that Reef Slider that can prove to be the potential backbreaker here. Utilized, but not able to find a pick on that right side. Very huge there. Tan managing to find one, but the Booyah Bomb doesn't come out in time. Zer is there at least to try to stall out that tower, but the players aren't there for I'm ready to put on for We Win in it to stall out. The jumps continuously coming in just because of how fast they're able to jump in from that cooler Tan, managing to find a 1-for-1 trade on that mid side, but it does look like the push starting to die down a little bit here, but what a push it was, all the way down to 15 with 20 seconds left. Do or die time now for We Win in it, as Tiger just tries to find any space to get back into this mid area, but in the waning moments of it, 15 seconds remaining, Tan just playing keep away, does go down though, so there is a little bit of life for We Win in it, but it's going to have to come from a miracle, as they do lose 2 players, overtime now looming.
Note that Tan is the one that needs to be alive here, build up that Booyah Bomb to secure this overtime finish. Now, they can jump the tower in other ways, but the most surefire way to do that is to get that Booyah Bomb onto the tower, and Tan's, you can see them farming in their base, and they're at like 70% now. They do have that Booyah Bomb online, and so they're going to be jumping back, and they're going to poise their teammates to move forward with that Booyah Bomb. Probably give up this checkpoint just so they can get a little bit closer to a safe place, and so they're going to zip and Booyah Bomb onto that tower and close out the set, moving them into the losers bracket finals here. I'm ready to show. Moving up.
Yeah, and very nice discipline that they had, but eventually the thing that broke the stalemate was just simply moving up to the bats area, like you were mentioning before that game started, where we had Tan, we had Queen up that elbow area with those specials, and although the specials didn't necessarily get the values they were looking for, just being in those advantageous positions was what allowed the eventual lead-winning push to be sustained, where you had players just in the face of We Winning in it and giving them no room to operate, and that's exactly what I'm ready to put on the show did. So they move on within the bracket. Now moving on to losers bracket finals, where whoever was waiting for them, Sleep, our number 1 seed who lost 3-1 in winners bracket finals, is awaiting for them. So have to wait and see as those teams ready up. But now thinking back a little bit to the comps that were run, I believe Sleep was running the E-Leader as well to kind of contest some things. We are moving to best of 5 with losers bracket finals, and it seems that you're currently dying a little bit right now.
Yeah, so they're gonna be moving into losers bracket finals versus the team we saw earlier. It's gonna be Sleep, who, I mean, okay, so I feel like there's a tier of teams that like is usually taking the weeklies, and then there's a tier of teams that goes like a little bit above. I mean, like Kara's gonna be the player that is usually not found in weeklies, a little bit more in like the higher tiers of tournaments, being like the NAL, top A, and whatnot. So, if anything, I feel like I'm ready to put on a show is going to be the ones that have to prove themselves here in this set. I mean, they're coming in through losers versus a team that was coming through winners, so I feel like they're a little bit not on the back foot, I'd say, but punching up just a little bit.
Yeah, especially since they did, in fact, meet each other in winners bracket semis, and it was a sweep in the favor of Sleep. So these teams have played together against each other before in this very tournament, and Sleep was the team to knock I Am Ready to Put on a Show into losers in the first place. So it's definitely a David versus Goliath situation, but let's see if there's any lessons that I Am Ready to Put on a Show learned from that previous interaction, or is it just going to be another domination? We'll have to wait and see, as Clam Blitz Museum is our first game.
You did your homework, because I low-key didn't know that. I probably should have looked at the bracket. But Clams Museum is such a stally game, and okay. Well, maybe I'm thinking it's gonna go to Sleep here, because when I think Clams Museum, I think range. How do you control the entirety of that giant mid area? And the answer to me, E leader 4K. And who's good at that? It's gonna be Mar on Sleep. So I'm expecting to see that weapon come out. So I'm wondering what I'm ready to put on a show is gonna have in response to that. And like thinking about it, they don't have that many resources that can't be called out. Like they got the Booyah Bomb, the Reef Slider, and the Zipcaster, and two of them won't reach the E leader, and the Zipcaster can just get domed. So they're gonna have to put a lot of emphasis, I'd say, on taking out the enemy backline in a way that doesn't allow them to get set up properly. Because once that leader gets set up over the mid of Museum Clams, it's gonna be difficult to really move forward at all into them.
Yeah, it really is, and that controlling nature. Again, I keep going back to that word that you mentioned, but it's such a great descriptor for the E leader. Basically, influencing how you want to move. You play a lot differently when you know that there's an E leader staring at you, and if you make a mistake, then you are being sent back to spawn. That is just simply how the E leader works, and that is something that I'm Ready to Put on a Show will need to find an answer to. And you mentioned there is really a difference there is a difference in how you need to approach it, and if those specials just simply aren't going to cut it, where you just have to you use it and just try to rush the E leader, then you need to win on the other fronts. You need to win in different ways and between the margins.
Yeah, so seems we're going to be taking a little bit of a minute before we get into this first match, so I'm not going to get like too hard into it, speculating for the next 5 minutes about what weapons they're going to choose. But I mean, Clams Museum is a map that requires, I'd say, okay, because you either like chip away at the basket, you just get that one clam in. I feel like it's harder to sustain pushes on, just because you have that top left area that you can push out from, and then also if you have a weapon with enough range, being Mar on the leader, assuming they're ever on the back foot, just to say, like there's many avenues for you to retake the space in front of your basket. And so you have to cycle clams on such a large map too, and so you either get like wipeouts and after wipeouts, and then you get like a large push, or you just like throw clam in, get up the block. And I'm wondering if that might be the game plan for I'm Ready to Put on the Show. Because I was wondering, how do you disrupt a weapon that gets set up is based on stability? And maybe the answer is, all right, we got two fast weapons, let's just go up the block, dunk that clam in the basket, and now they got to turn around, and that's discombobulating. And so I think the foil to that steady team is going to be, how do we break their flow? And the answer is probably just rat a little bit.
Yeah, and there's definitely some elements to that. It is truly a fight between stability, control, versus creating that chaos. And especially on a very defensive map as well. It is very difficult to push on a museum, whether it be clams or Rainmaker or Ludi in Tower, where it is really difficult to move, especially with the only entranceway being either you jump from mid into the spinner, or you go up the ramp, or you take the block. Not really great options across the board, especially if you have such a defensive E-leader looking at you. But again, like you were talking about, you have to be a little bit creative in how you take these approaches, and something that I'm Ready to Put on a Show can definitely do is cause disruption with their speed.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a difficult map to play into. I'd say it lends favor to a more stable team, especially one with range. And so when I'm looking at this map, I'm thinking Sleep is going to be more comfortable here. And so I'm thinking about how I'm Ready to Put on a Show is going to have to work with this stage. Now, the rest of it seems like it's going to lend itself in their favor. If they manage to make it at Game 5, Clams Umami being the fastest Clams maps, the ones that we play, I like Brine Water, but we don't play the thing, is going to be one that really lends itself its favor to their fast composition, but they have to make it there. And we saw how proficient they are at Rainmaker Scorch. Not that they won the thing, but pretty damn close. Yeah, I mean, it's a decent set of maps for them. It's just a tough game one to start, and I think momentum is a large thing in these longer sets as well. So it's a little bit of an unlucky draw, I'd say, but it's not doomed. It's just not exactly in the favor. I'm ranting.
Definitely. So as we wait for these two teams to just kind of ready up again, just do all that boring stuff of just get in the lobby. Maybe somebody forgot to take the food out of the oven, or whether maybe have you. We have a lot of time to kill. There's a lot of other maps that we can potentially take a look at as well, but at that point it would just be up to speculation. We do at the very least get to see that these players have all gotten in the lobby, so now it's just that 90-second countdown where we're waiting for these players to hurry up. And it does look like you already have I'm Ready to Put on a Show just already giddied up and ready to already just immediately get into the game. So if there's any speculation to be had, they could be sticking to their guns of what they previously brought in that set that they just won.
Yeah, I think the only... Okay, because I'm pretty confident we're going to see that E-Leader. So my question is now what Chiva is going to play, because Chiva's question mark? I don't remember the username exactly. But the aggressive weapon on the side of Sleep had many options that they could choose. I'm also realizing now that this is going to be a Tetra versus Tetra match. 2 one-tricks being Lyric and Gyro, so I'm going to see how they face up against one another. But Chivas is going to be one of the star plays I'm looking at other than Mar, because the weapon they choose is going to play really nice into that Tetra, being that Luna Blaster Neo. Excellent choice versus the Zipcaster and the Tetra, them struggling with blasters. So, yeah, good choices across the board, and interested to see how these weapons interact with one another.
Yeah, as well as that hammer providing a new wrinkle, as well as a potential just straight up killing option onto your pen. So definitely something to keep your eye on. There's also solid paints across the board for Sleep as well. Maybe suffering a little bit from that on the Luna, but regardless, still enough serviceable paint, as you already have 49er trying to go in, but 3 down immediately onto this mid skirmish with Sleep in the aggressive Sleep.
How far up Kara is. Kara gets a pick it down onto the pencil, disrupting their cooler cycle there, taking them down before they manage to drop that thing. And trading their life for it, but I'd say that's a pretty good pick. I want to note that with compositions that's an E-Leader and NZAP core, especially when it's with a blaster too, the onus is very much on the NZAP to stay alive 99% of the time, because if you lose the paint control, then you can't have your slower weapons like the Luna Blaster Neo move forward properly. So it's say they have sufficient paint on paper, but if Kara doesn't play this game perfectly, then it might stumble a little bit. I mean, they've had a strong opening so far, but they're gonna have to keep that up for the entirety of the set. And what was a pretty strong holding of their ramp and basket, whatnot, from I'm Ready to Put on a Show, does end up slipping away. They had 2 power climbs that are just gonna despawn here, so their climb economy is just gonna evaporate now.
Yeah, the setup to the push was definitely there, and the idea was there, just the execution wasn't, as you had Sleep being able to rally and take that ramp back. Queen now jumping back to resecure some things. This 49er is still camping along that bottom left side near the ramp, causing a lot of disruption. Very nice shot from Vest there to take them down before that Zipcaster can find much more, but so far either side is trying to see if they can find any ground, trying to find the clams, as you do have I'm Ready to Put on a Show with that mid control, but here comes that flanking Luna. Let's see if anybody sniffs it out.
Does get caught out, but with the help of Mar and the leader, does take down the Tetra dually, so Chiva's going to be able to, not fumble that flank. Look at the 49er here. The flank versus flank here, the Shark versus Shark, gets to win that battle, and taking that Chiva is a pretty good pick here. It's going to allow them to move up that ramp. They're going to expend that Booyah Bomb to move forward now, and this is going to be the beginning of their push, but the Zipcaster also available now.
49er has been proven deadly on that, but they are taken out before many more lives can be taken. But still, either side have yet to push up and make a strong push. To be expected and pretty typical on a map such as Museum, where both teams know what they're doing in terms of defending. Neither side can really find that big advantage unless you force a major 3 down or a complete wipeout. 49er, though, trying to do everything within their power to do just that, and what do you know? They cause a 3-player down. Here is the first push. Gundam there being able to get that first clam in. Tan also has a Booyah Bomb available, just waiting to see if they will use it to continue to stall that push. Tan, though, goes down before that Booyah Bomb could be had, so that seems like the end of the push, but at the very least, getting it down under that 60-point threshold is a wonderful start.
Yeah, 3 minutes in for Claims Museum. It's going to be the first break of the basket, going down to 56, which is honestly a winning lead, and like sufficient for Museum. Look out for this flank though. They can keep this. Just kidding. They could keep this going if they are able to just discombobulate and go behind them. I mean, they're gonna keep this up. Lyrica now on their plat too, so they're just gonna. I think this is game plan for the next minute and a half. Stay behind them so they can't set up properly and get that push going. But like 56 is a solid lead and one that wins games on the Museum because you only really get 1 or 2 pushes for the entirety of Museum. So I'd be pretty happy now to just stall out for the remainder of minute and 20, but not gonna look so good if you go down 2 here with Sleep able to move up to this ramp now.
Yeah, and I think something that Sleep needs to do is move up far enough to where they can set up their E-leader on that mid spinner to be able to control a lot more of that space, and they're doing just that with Vest now in that area. You have the hammer coming out as well from that left side, but you see this slowly but surely Sleep moving forward to be able to put down the groundwork of a push. As a matter of fact, here comes the power clam as well to potentially set things up, but there needs to be a couple more. There needs to be at least 2 more plus some change in order for them to take this back. You have the cooler, yeah, they have that. They have the cooler available. Here comes the Blue Slider Zombie going in with the power clam, and here comes the follow-up. Will there be enough? It does seem like there are plenty clams in the basket for Sleep. Here comes the counter reslider from Queen as well to knock them out, but still, a very successful push in with not a lot of deaths on either side, as a matter of fact. It just seemed like the Roof Slider cleared everything out, and ball now in the court of I'm ready to put on a show.
Yeah, the onus is now on them to take the lead back, and there's 15 seconds remaining, plus the 20 seconds of overtime that they get. Not a whole lot of time to move forward, but they have control of mid, which is a great setup for this overtime push. So now with the clams and the zipcasts coming out, we're going to see this last overtime push coming out from I'm ready to put on the show.
Absolutely, and here it comes. Reef Slider coming in. Tanda goes down. That power clam drops, so a little bit of a stalling out now with Queen now being the only player within the vicinity. You have 49er there as well to back them up, and there needs to be a couple more clams, and there will be enough clams as I am ready to put on a show. After that push that potentially could have lost them that match, they bounce back. Very nicely done, and it will not be a sweep just like in semis as I am ready to put on a show gets 1 on the board.
Yeah, I mean, now they recognize their opponent and they know how to play against them. So it's a whole new set, breaking what was historically not their match take. And also just like on paper, this is not a game that I thought that I'm ready to put on the show was gonna win. So now moving into what I think lends into their favor, you know, they're feeling pretty good, especially taking down an opponent that swept them earlier. You know, gotta be feeling pretty good if you're on the side of I'm ready to put on a show.
Yeah, really nice there from the back and forth that pretty much broke the stalemate at the very beginning with Sleep being able, with I'm ready to put on a show, being able to move up that right side from 49ers 3K, but afterwards both sides traded blows. In the end, it was I'm ready to put on a show with the one that were able to get the final blow off of the counter pushes. And sometimes that's just how the cookie crumbles, where a failed push leads into the other team counteracting with much ferocity, and we saw it there with I'm ready to put on the show with the last laugh, and sometimes that's all it takes. Similarly to how it can be played on Rainmaker, Tower Control, and Zones, all modes can play in that very similar fashion. And speaking of Rainmaker, to start things off, we're now moving to game 2, with that being on Scourge Gorge now.
Oh, I'm ready to see a whole lot of Inkvacs. Like, if there were ever an adaptation to make for Rainmaker, it's going to be that. And I'm thinking maybe we switch things up a little bit and get a pen player out of Mar too, so we can get the dual 96 scales, because, you know, what I'm thinking is Tan's going to be switching over that thing. And if there's a player on Sleep that does that, it's going to be Kara. So I'm interested to see... Oh, well, I forgot that they had the V-Scope. Alright, V-Scope coming out. That's going to be Inkvac 1, and that's Inkvac 2 being that 96 scale. So the choices that we all thought were going to happen here on any Rainmaker map ever do happen. And so we're going to have that resource to push things down to nothing. So honestly, I'm confident in saying that a deep push is 1-0, one that I'm securing is 1-0, because that Inkvac can do a lot of bull splat.
A lot of bull splat for sure. You have the 96 on the side of I'm ready to put on a show. Tan with 3 mains of swim speed, so it's going to be a fast 96. But speaking of fast, you already have Sleep moving up early aggression here. Should be able to get this checkpoint so long as nobody's able to save it in time, and that will be it. Tan utilizes that vacuum pretty early to make sure that no further points will be had, as here just comes up to clean up Shivas with that splashdown. Won't find much just there for the chip, but 45 seconds in already, and we already have that early aggression, making sure that Sleep knows, hey, you might have gotten that one, but we are not letting that slip by again. We are really upping up the tempo, and you see it already.
It's good first checkpoint break for the first minute of play, and they're not exactly out of mid yet. I mean, they're getting some nice picks from both Chiva and Mars, and now they're going to be able to move with this ramp. But jumps coming in too, hold on. All the jumps will tumble a little bit, and they have the ink vac ready as well. They get a walk forward so far here with the Rainmaker coming out and the ink vac too. They can just move this forward down to 30 now and continue to move forward. And the back shot gets stuck by the other back, but it's just 10 alive, and Cheetah's behind them, so they can still keep this push going. If they pop this Rainmaker, they can move forward a little bit more. They still have the momentum to make this happen.
That was actually a very underrated play by there from Tan. If Tan died there, that would have been game over in curtains. And it still might be, but that not if the rest of I'm Ready to Put on a Show has anything to say about it, ending that nonsense before it gets out of control. But Tan just barely being able to get that 96 back in time might have saved them the game and at least given I'm Ready to Put on a Show a fighting chance. Though 2 minutes down already, they just need to focus at one thing at a time, which is at the very least getting this initial checkpoint with 49er in that availability on that right side. Zipcaster goes out, and this could be the groundwork for what is needed for them to get in.
But look how many specials they're expanding just to win this mid fight. Like, that's 3 specials that have just come out, and the cooler probably top 2. So if they get this checkpoint, they're not going to have the resources to extend the push, but they don't even get to the checkpoint. That's going to be Karo dropping into mid and taking down the Rainmaker. So they've used so many resources, and for what? Not a whole lot of progress made off of it. Now comes out the ink vac from Mar here, and to secure that ramp area and just push back in forward, but they don't, like I said, they don't have the resources to respond to this anymore.
They do not, especially with Sleep now going down to 3 players and that wipeout to boot as well. You do just have I'm Ready to Put on a Show pretty much gifted this checkpoint, and it could lay the groundwork for a potential comeback here. You do have your pen losing your life, so that cooler will be delayed a bit, so it doesn't look like Sleep will be able to, or it doesn't look like I'm Ready to Put on a Show will able to move in here, as Sleep just building up their specials on this elbow.
Yeah, I mean, they do get that checkpoint, which is, I suppose, nice, and it means if they get some momentum, they can walk forward with much more ease using that ink vac. But, I mean, it's, 68 points isn't, like, the points we're looking at is just that checkpoint being gone, and they do have the ink vac ready, so they do have the resources, they just have to get some picks to start it off. And, picks are going to come out from Tan, but the 2 front lines do go down, so they're not going to be able to get much going here. I mean, right now it's just scrappy, get some more jumps coming in, but they do need to secure this mid-fight before they get this push going.
Yeah, yes, has this vacuum available as well to stall out the push on the left side. 49er does have that Zipcaster as well. That has proven very deadly. 2 players now, 3 in total down for Sleep, so this could be the opportunity that I'm Ready to Put on a Show has been looking for. Yet again, though, you still have that scopes back, just waiting in wait. 49ers and Zipcaster does go out now, trying to hunt for those picks. Reslider, though, Keeley canceled out. Sleep now being able to crunch onto Tan, who does carry that Rainmaker, so the vacuum will not be utilized, but yet again, very nice patience. The vacuum from the other side, though, from Sleep will slow down that push. You have 49 to just dancing up onto this right side to see if they can stall up, but they've run out of ink in the crucial moments of things, so 45 seconds remaining, and that push has gone nowhere.
That was almost devastating. 49er got where in their base? All the way up to the final pedestal behind them, barely running out of ink. But now they've delivered this Rainmaker to an excellent spot for Sleep. All they have to do is just live with it. Just jump in the corner and protect that thing for the next 3 seconds when they win this game. So now it's up to I'm Ready to Put on a Show to take them down and start this overtime push. They do manage to get that pick, so they're going to be able to pop this and start one more push. And this time, I'm wondering if they'll have the ink vac ready. Notably, it was Tan that grabbed the Rainmaker last time, and so they didn't have the vac ready to cheese it forward up that ramp. But now they have fully reset here, and they can get these resources online to start this last push.
Yeah, last push. Crunch time now, but there doesn't look like to be any players alive to even make it happen, as yeah, the celebratory vac, everyone just dancing around that Rainmaker, and that is it for Game 2. Sleep bounce right back in Game 2. Now, we are put to a best-of-3 scenario, and definitely showing us that we have a set on our hands. Sleep still showing their fangs.
But, like, that was a good showing out of I'm Ready to Put on a Show. Like, you saw that push, it almost came together, it just, like, fell apart in the most crucial moment. Just a little bit of a misplay, I'm wondering what it was, I didn't fully see. Like, I think the momentum was stopped when Tan got caught out by that ink vac shot, and just got stopped, so the other members just, I mean, got a little discombobulated. I mean, you can no longer move the objective, but you're in so deep with no longer having that follow-up, so it just, like, fell apart and they weren't able to trigger that overtime push. But like, even just like before then, they walked up that ramp with like relative ease, won that fight perfectly, and saved their specials to move forward. Like they used that Zipcaster to try and get the ink back down before it could be used, not managing to do it, and then unfortunately getting cancelled out on the Reef Slider too. So I think conceptually, like that was all good play. And if that Reef Slider exploded properly, it might have just been the game for them. But a little bit of misplay, maybe a little bit of griefing on Nintendo's side, not managing to secure in that game, and evens up the set.
100%. I mean, the groundwork were there. It just came down to execution, but that's really what it comes down to. These players know what they're doing. They know how to operate. And speaking of operating, they'll have a new challenge to work through and operate with TC Hagglefish Market. With looking at our comps here, yet again, pretty much the same.
You're gonna be switching back to Leader Quirk.
Mm-hmm.
That's a choice I do like, especially for this map. There's so many good places for the leader to set up on, and the leader can watch those two critical flanks on the either side of mid with extreme ease. Like, it's just a straight line for you to look down, so Mark can be beaming them this entire time, and no changes coming out from I'm Ready to Put on a Show, so it's about what I expected, and I do like that slight adaptation that they made.
Yeah, and you already have 3 players going down, and I'm ready to put on the shows. Just left to this pen left to try to run for their lives. Queen is in the area to at least cover their retreat, but they go down. So momentum now moving with Sleep, or taking that early lead, of course. But can they get to this first checkpoint? That is the major question. Booyah Bomb and a Zipcaster being utilized from I am ready to put on the show. Explosion happening on that bottom left side. 2 players going down. Now 3 yet again for I'm ready to put on the show. So again, this early aggression that we saw from Sleep in that second game still showing up in this game 3, where you just have this go, go, go mindset. Splashdown available as well, taking down 49er.
Look behind them though, that Tetra is going to stall out a little bit. I'm actually going to pick the Reef Slider though, but it's going to buy them a little bit of control ahead. But look at how far behind Chivas is in their base, fighting that someone. I don't know, Tetra goes down on the front side, and it's like such a weird collapse here. I'm not even sure who's going to come out on top here. Everyone's split, and more specials coming out, but it is finally going to be I'm ready to put on a show, stopping that push down to 60, which is like a who cares kind of push. So pretty safely in the game again.
Yeah, so now what I am ready to put on a show needs to do is learn a little bit from what they did in that previous game, but this time just execute on it. Again, the groundworks were there, the Booyah Bomb being put down, trying to cancel out that splashdown. There's a nuclear versus nuclear reaction just happening there with both sides utilizing their specials and losing their lives in that process. Queen does have a Reef Slider available to maybe pinch with this right side, as you do have a lot of pink turf and that cooler at the backs if I'm ready to put on a show to make something happen, but still, at every turn, you have Chivas being able to poke away with that blast. So yes, they do go down here, but this hold is very much still alive, just trying to poke away at that left side.
Yeah, it's gonna be I'm ready to put on show now, ready to push. And so the Zipcaster and the Booyah Bomb both come out. It's gonna claim that top left area. It's super critical point to test the tower from. So they're gonna be able to move past that first checkpoint with relative ease, which is excellent play. Now moving on to the second checkpoint where games on TC Agile are decided, and now the 49ers moves up forward, clearing space ahead of the tower, but it's just gonna be Sorrow now on this pencil, and somehow living here, it's taking it down to 24. So an excellent push coming out from I'm ready to put on a show.
Absolutely. Now all the way down to that 23-point mark, and Keeley getting past that second checkpoint. Sleep now put onto that back foot yet again. Of course, they do have plenty of time to really work up here, but the main thing they need to really focus on is taking out these players before they can build up their specials exactly like that, taking out Queen, Tan poking behind as well, but the main thing is to just disrupt the operation of I'm ready to put on the show and make sure these specials don't come up, but still, they're the ones that are fighting on the back foot, and there's the ones that having their operations really be put from under them, because they have the constant flanks from Queen, from Tan, and from 49er.
This is exactly what I wanted to see on Museum, and they're bringing strategy over here. Now, it's like these constant flanks are just stopping them from being able to set up and get a real push going, and so that constant discombobulation is exactly what you need to play into this team now. And they are 2 down, so it's like, I mean, it's working pretty damn good. I mean, Kara's going to take out the pencil player, which is going to buy them a little bit of momentum and, life in this game, but you have to do a whole lot more than that to get a push past 23, because 23 is a deep push for TC Haggle.
Yeah, the splashdown available as your only special. These specials need to start coming online, or at least finding the value necessary in order to bring this back. Or you can just simply get the picks like that. 2 players down on either side now, and the tower slowly but surely making its way towards that right side, but needs to be a more confident push, as you have 2 players flanking from I'm Ready to Put on the Show. Queen's still back there, causing this pinch happening on the tower as it slowly but surely moves up north towards this dangerous position on the right side. Chivas finally goes down on that tower. Tan has been berating everybody that's been getting on that tower. 35 seconds remaining left within the match, and still, you have the game slowly but surely crawling through the hand of Sleep. You need these specials to get online too, and that cooler needs to come out as well to at least give them a fighting chance.
Look how much paint is ahead of this tower here, and they're gonna have to paint and control ahead of the tower if they want to get past that lead. Now, note that Tan does have that Booyah Bomb, so in the final moments of the game, Tan goes down with the Booyah Bomb. Hold on, wait, so they no longer have a GG special. I mean, it doesn't matter if they just win this fight, but that was what secures the game. So now it's up to Chivas here to secure this tower and go ahead of it, but not if Lyric on the back end uses that slider and along with that splash. Hold on, Chivas is still alive on the tower. They can still touch this thing. They just have to get on the tower, but the tried and true combo of the Booyah and the Zipcaster do secure that game and and win them that third game of the set, putting them up 2-1.
Yeah, and now looking at a very different from what we looked at semifinals. Now 1 game away from knocking out the #1 seed here in Sleep. Now looking at Splatoon to Robo Ramen at that potential final game for I'm Ready to Put on a Show to take this one home. We saw the constant disruptions really be the factor that just broke the camel's back for Sleep, where they constantly moved up. You constantly had 2 players. It felt like every single time that I'm Ready to Put on a Show or that Sleep was trying to move up. I'm Ready to Put on a Show either had Tan or 49er or just any other of the combinations just behind them at all times that created the pinch onto the tower.
Yeah, I mean, excellent team play. I do love how Tan is covering the 2 shorter range front lines and, you know, securing them. Because the problem with, like, Octobus, for example, is you have to, like, get in their face to get damage done. And so, when you inherently don't have that range, getting covered by a teammate is exactly the kind of play you want to make. So, I mean, this is a tried and true team, excellent team play coming out of them. Kara choosing to match them, you're going on to that Forge themselves, and it's pretty much a mirror comp here, with the only exception being the Blaster for the Octobrush, Blaster being the one that wins on paper, but you've seen the work that 49 can do, so, I mean, who gives a damn? So these are some pretty standard changes across the board. See how this fares on Zones Robo.
Yeah, that Zipcaster is going to constantly cause the disruptions that are necessary, but yeah, it's going to come down to the executions and winning on the margins. 49 are getting the better on that bottom right side, and the aggression, yet again, from I Am Ready to Put on a Show has been consistent, thick and thin. No matter if they're winning or losing these picks, they will go in, and that's really what has been leading them this far. Reach Slider, interestingly used on this bottom right side, maybe trying to catch out somebody, but it will not find its value, as with that, you already have the specials being dumped from Sleep to try to see if they can take advantage of this building of momentum. But so far, either side just throwing caution to the wind and throwing their specials directly at the other team.
At the end of that extremely messy set of team fights, it's going to be Sleep coming out on top, and so they're going to be taking the lead here, which was a really short lead, but, you know, lead's a lead, and so they're going to be setting up their own lockout, but, you know, you see Lyric escaping from the bottom left, gets checked out by Chivas and Kara together, so now it's them in the driver's seat. Chivas tries to dive on Tan, but Tan picks up that Booyah Bomb, followed by Zipcaster, which has been a great combination of specials, by the way. Like, playing off of that distraction and, like, area denial off the Booyah, moving through it to get some picks. Doesn't get the full secrets they wanted, but it's going to buy them a lot of control. It's just going to be Chivas ended now. And so if they take down Chivas, they can get a pretty good setup here, leaving only Mar on the board back at their snipe.
Yeah, and something that is the emphasis of this map, of course, is that elbow area, which either side have been constantly spilling so much ink over just to control. Queen goes down, that Reef Slider not going to be utilized, which could have been crucial in holding this retake that you see coming up from Sleep just because of that Booyah Bomb that was being utilized. But here comes a counter Booyah to cause that simultaneous disruption. Either side gonna keep going with the flow of their specials, whether they have the specials or whether they have to fall back and give it space because the other team has specials. 49er gets to live that jump because Octobrush gonna do Octobrush things, 2 down on the side of Sleep, and now yet again you have the potential momentum shifting right back to I'm Ready to Put on a Show.
That was honestly a great hold by them. Like, we don't have the zone right now, but it could have been so much worse. And I think it's to thanks of the 49er on that jump, managed to take down Kara, who was leading the charge there. And once that Forge went down, they were less able to keep it going. But now they're taking down some points since they passed the penalty, and now they're going to move forward here. Kara is popping the Booyah Bomb to try to stay in the zone a little bit, but, you know, there are 2 down now. and they're not going to be able to hold the zone now. So they're going to get that lead of 33, but it's not like a devastating lead just yet. But 2 minutes 20 to play, and I mean, any points on the board is good points at this point.
Yeah, 49er with another Octo Zipcaster as well, so again, could provide that disruption. With this back and forth and how this game has been going so far, you get the feeling that it's only a matter of time before which one of these teams starts to pull ahead, where that momentum really starts to change. And this could be it here with Pan getting that Booyah Bomb in on this elbow position, and here comes the rest to force this 4v3. Will the picks follow, though, is the question. Here comes the counter Booyah from Kira, as it is not there in time in order to save that lead change, but at the very least, Chivas with that splashdown will keep it in that pink color. So both sides have had their opportunities to get in. Now ball in the court of I'm ready to put on a show to make sure they get a strong retake.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even have to expend that many resources. Like, they do already have that Booyah Bomb online, and I'm sure that the Zipcaster and Slider are soon to follow, so these specials do come out, and it's going to buy them zone pretty much immediately. Like, look at this combination of specials. If they are in the lead as the timer goes to 0, then they can just end the game. But they do go 3 down, so this is going to be Sleep ticking through the penalty once again. Like, they just expended 3 specials, and it did net them the zone, which is important to note for overtime, but they have to get to overtime first, and be in the driver's seat during that sequence.
Yeah, so penalty points ticking down, though, so these specials and their values is going to just come at a premium, and 49er goes down pretty early, as well as Tan with that Booyah Bomb no longer a factor. You have the momentum very much in Sleep's favor. Grief Slider now used in desperation, breaking that special cycle. Now the special economy very much into Sleep's favor. Zipcaster desperately being used by 49ers to try to get in. It finds 2. This could be the potential game saver here. 49ers at least able to paint the zone. What looks like a potential knockout has turned on its head with Sleep going 3 players down, with 49er getting the value needed onto that Zipcaster. New life within I Am Ready to Put on a Show. 30 ticks remaining and 30 seconds remaining on the clock here. You have that Booyah Bomb being utilized. Chivas just trying to poke away on that elbow position. Either side just trying to look and hunger for that opening first blood. Splashdown being utilized by Chiva to get in that retake. They go down Keeley, though, and here we go again. Now this time you have Sleep actually being able to hold on to that zone that Booyah Bomb wasn't able to paint much, but yet again now being put on the back foot. Overtime now looming in the final seconds of things. We are going to overtime.
Yeah, we're in overtime now, but they do have the resources to hold this. Like, that Slider's going to counteract most things that they throw at the zone, but something paints the zone entirely, and they don't manage to get the lead. I don't even know what happened. Okay. Game 5!
Game 5, yeah, pretty much. They described the chaoticness of that match, but eventually you had the momentum swinging back to I Am Ready to Put on a Show from 49er, but Sleep able to crawl back despite what looked like a potential comeback brewing, as they were able to really push in with that momentum. And for basically 4 minutes and 30 seconds of that match, both sides able to trade specials really nicely, barely making any mistakes within that. But then you got to see that momentum start to build. You got to see specials not finding the value with 49er going down immediately to that Zipcaster, and then the Reef Slider being used in desperation to try to cancel out. It was just not enough to really bring it back. There was enough time for I'm Ready to Put on a Show to bring it back. So, reset now. 1 game remaining. Winner takes all. Clamblitz Umami Ruins is the last one.
Yeah, I mean, at the start of the set, I did say it would lend itself in the favor of I'm Ready to Put on a Show, being the more, aggressive composition, the more faster and discombobulating composition. But you see, Sleep has adjusted their pace of play, being now switching to a pencil core, and you saw how fast Kara is able to move. So they've pretty much switched to be, identical in nature here, and so I'm less less biased towards I'm Ready to Put on a Show now, and so it's just about anyone's game in my opinion.
Yeah, so mistakes are going to come at a premium here, and sustained push is going to be the name of the game, especially on a Clam Blitz. 2 players going down already. You already just have that momentum being switched. 49er there with that ball as well, just trying to see if they can stay alive within this thick of it. But you have that cooler to fight with as well. They find the nice shark onto Zombie, and with momentum now shifting onto their side, they look to move forward.
Yeah, it's going to be I'm Ready to Put on a Show now, moving forward, and applying that Booyah Bomb, getting another Booyah Bomb in response, just getting some more space in front of that basket. 49er behind them, though, does take down Mar on the pencil, getting some good picks. They don't really have the control nor the clams to follow up on this push, unless there's someone behind them. Nope. So it is going to be a quick push to 68, and honestly, Clan Blitz Umami it's not less about sustained pushes, more about rapid pushes over and over and over. Just keep beating down on the enemy team. And so if they keep that pressure on, then they can just chip away at the basket. They can afford to have the basket close even. And so this map is just, 68 is nothing to stop that.
Yeah, but you also have the worry of you don't want to keep getting in nothing burger pushes, and as it'll eventually just lead to a strong counterattack that can turn into a sustained push for the other side. So yeah, I'm ready to put on a show now on the defensive as Sleep moving in, trying to see if they can move in. Chivas manages to get that pick, and another one on the Tan as well, and the splashdown to help clear the area. Zombie trying to move in with that follow-up clam to at least keep this lead going, and they will get that lead. Slider now going in to make the situation into more of a sustained push, providing so much space for the rest of their team. You have the splashdown as well to continue stalling out. Gus is here with the clams and the jumps, and almost a drink available as well. So this can prove to be very dangerous for I'm ready to put on a show.
Trusting the teams ahead of the basket to hold the aggression, going back for some more clams, but something does happen from the basket, so they are able to. They're going to lose that push at 33, safely getting the lead away from I'm ready to put on a show, who now needs a lot of clams if they want to claim that lead. Like that's what 2 player clams, maybe 3 and change, to claim that lead away from Sleep. So they put a big dent into the points here, and they're going to go 2 down as well. So they. It's pretty even mid now, and it's up to I'm ready to put on a show to claim what was a pretty big showing in that push.
They're gonna manage to find one on the zombie there, but at the very least, what I'm ready to put on a show needs to do is hold on to this mid area and at the very least build up their specials, because very much so Sleep is controlling this mid area, controlling the flow, and not only that, controlling the clams, which you especially need to start building up at least a power clam, build up the ammo to have at least an opportunity or the resources to, when there is an opportunity, push in with it. But Chivas there with a lot of people around them still managed to exit with a trade. 2 balls though in the possession of Sleep, which could lead to yet again another push. Slider finds 1, and here comes the push again. This will break through the barrier and through the penalty as well, so any additional points to add the cherry on top. So much yellow paint happening on this right side. 49er is there though to help clean up 2. There is the quick trade from Chivas though. Managed to find one onto Clean yet again, just still staying alive. They do have the potential to get a knockout here, but that was only a very barring a miracle happening there. But still, yet again, Sleep knocking at the doors.
Down to 14 now, and they were so close to packing this up. It only takes 2 more power clams if they just want to get that KO. And look at the amount of clams that they have on side of Sleep. They can do it. So if they get the control like they have been doing consistently in this match, winning those team fights on their side of the map, they're able to block forward and dunk some more clams, and then they can be the one to close this out. Like 19 clams, everyone is clams. They have a lot of specials online very soon too, with the VA bomb and the splashdown being just about ready. So if they want, they can close this up right now.
Yeah, 45 seconds left. Still plenty of time to move in, though, for I'm ready to put on that show, but you just need to worry about getting in that economy. Still, you need like 3 power clams and a lot more to get in this lead, so you just need to slowly but surely get into that mid area to even establish something. But Sleep is making sure that doesn't happen. Both power clams fall down, and there is another break at the barrier for Sleep, using this to maybe draw attention away from that mid fight, as Tan's now left in no man's land, utilizing the Booyah Bomb already. Chivas now poking away at Queen as well. They go down in this flow state. Very dangerous on the blaster. 10 ticks left, 10 seconds left, and it does look like now I'm ready to put on a show, just barring some miracle, have to just go full steam ahead to get any movement here. Here comes overtime. Cooler being popped as well to help with this overtime push. 49er respawning. No specials on either side yet, so it's gonna be just down and dirty, straight up fighting here happening on that right side. It won't be enough for a lead though, so there will have to be a long sustained push if I'm ready to put on a show, or to take this one back. Booyah Bomb used pretty early in this mid area. Zombie poking away at them from behind, but it will not even come to fruition as I am ready to put on a show. Not able to come back from that deficit. Sleep closing it out in a 3-2 dramatic fashion.
It's going to be a rematch here in Grand Finals. Sleep moving back up to fight against their opponent Winners Finals, getting that run back. And it was a pretty close set at that, so they're going to be, trying that out one more time here. But they're going to have to win both the Grand Finals and that bracket reset, which is a tall hill to climb if they want to win this whole tournament. So as we wait for that next set to get ready, we're going to go to a quick little break before we present you Grand Finals. Pool 378, I think, probably.
And we are back after a little bit of a delay. We'll explain that in a second. Welcome back. Now looking at Grand Finals, 1B Prime versus Sleep, the rematch from Winners Bracket Finals, with a little bit of a twist, with that being a little bit of a player change caused by that break.
Yeah, I mean, if anything's Prime, it's going to be switching in Basil from Moonlight onto the roster when be Prime. So we're going to be seeing Ashley Ferris here versus Sleep. Starting off on Tower Control Undertow, Zones Mako, Clams Museum again, followed by Rimmer Scorch again, and then Tower Control Inkblot to close it out. So we'll see if we manage to get that point. I mean, Wemby Prime did put up a pretty dominant showing, only a slight misplay in game 2 of 4 in that winners final set. So looking at things here, I'm not sure that we're going to get to that game 5, but we're going to be starting things off on Tower Control Undertow. I mean, a pretty awkward map to play, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, I mean, you have the short, quick checkpoints at the very beginning, but then afterwards, the second checkpoint always going to be a hassle as we take a look at these comps. Maybe let's see if there's any changes. Basil going with that E-leader to remain pretty similar from what we saw from 1B Prime.
Interestingly, it's going to be Sleep sticking on their pencil core rather than leader core, not trying to match Basil 1-1 here. So we'll see how these compositions play with one another. Like, Sleep might be a little bit more faster conceptually, but, you know, the added stability of leader is always a nice touch. But it is going to be Sleep taking the, you know, the first team fight here, dropping that cooler, and now able to move that first checkpoint, which is, like you said, a formality. So they're just going to get that off the board here. Maybe not, actually, as the fight comes in and Webby Prime redeploys.
Here comes the quick lead as well. Usually these first checkpoints, aforementioned, very quick to go away, but ZX there trying to make sure that doesn't happen with a quick 2K on that left side. You have that Zap, nowhere to go with paint just all around them. So really just left to Basil now to stay alive. Gee, it's a really nice shot onto that blaster in mid-area, but ZX now with the rest of the team of Wemby Prime in the area, now being able to solidify a little bit in this mid-area. Minute through this match, neither side really been able to make that stronghold, except Sidra, who we saw was very deadly and was very key into causing the snowballing to occur onto 1B Prime.
It's going to be Wemby Prime now, breaking past that first checkpoint, and now moving on to second. It's going to be them making the first push here. And they do have quite a lot of resources at the ready. I mean, Blast is going to go down before they get that splashdown up, so that's what I was talking about, and it's not going to come out. But Ceredra's picking up on them, getting that pick off of them, training them out, and now Kara's low, forced to jump out. So, you know, if they get on this tower, they're going to be able to contest that first checkpoint, and one more trade out onto the forge here. Kara goes down, but it is going to be 3 down on Wemby Prime, so they're going to stop that push at 59. Just approaching that second checkpoint, which you do need a break to get a lead winning or a game winning lead on TC Undertow.
Yeah, but good defense from Sleep to make sure that they didn't lose their second checkpoint. Now pushing at the very least to get through this initial first checkpoint. They do have Kira available with that Booyah Bomb, but are losing players left and right as they actually weren't able to get past that first checkpoint, so that's still going to be an obstacle for them as 1B Prime is trying to make them fight for every inch of ground, but eventually they should work their way up, especially with that splashdown happening on that right side. Basil left cornered will jump out, and here we go. Sleep with momentum building up, now moving and chugging along towards that second checkpoint. Yet again, 1B Prime goes 2 players down, just left of the Zap and the E leader to try to stall out this right side.
Now we're going to approach that second checkpoint, and we do have to break the checkpoint, so securing the area ahead of the tower is going to be super important. ZX is moving up there, takes down the Tower Rider, and Basil cleans up the last pick onto Chivas, so they're not going to be able to break the checkpoint. They do. Okay, checkpoint's down, so while the push does end there, they do manage to take that second checkpoint, which means they're going to be able to roll up to the third checkpoint, which is where games on TC Undertow are decided, with much more ease not having to stop by that really awkward defensive point with the Greats and such, playing into that high ground. So, you know, great push by Sleep, just chipping down away from what they need to solidify this game win.
Yeah, but yet again, now reset back to this neutral territory where either side just trade blows with each other. But key thing as well, you do have a little bit of lag there. Akira does manage to find one onto that Zap. Booyah Bomb now available. Either side really, again, flowing with their specials, slowly but surely moving forward is Sleep, but that Booyah Bomb no longer going to be in use or no longer available. But a 2-for-1 does happen in that mid area, now balancing things out to make a very interesting one-on-one, now one-on-two happen within this left side. Everybody just jumping on Naiko there as Sleep are continuing this push. Booyah Bomb is available, and here they go now flowing towards that third and final checkpoint with 1 minute and 25 to go.
This is exactly where they want to be. The Resetter coming out, taking out one Surger in their base, but they have to get a rider on the tower if they want to keep this push going. Wisely choosing to back off here, recognizing the 2 down now, and they're in their base. They're going to get that redeploy so much faster than them. But the reinforcements do come in. So 1B Prime doesn't move up all that fast, so they are, you know, able to maintain a little bit of a presence in front of their base, but, you know, as they do fully redeploy, it is going to be the end of the push, pushing down 22, which is a lead that's breakable here on Undertow if they manage to break this second checkpoint now as 1B Prime prepares to push.
Yeah, 48 seconds left to go. You have the Booyah Bomb coming on and available soon for Kira to maybe be the GG special that you need, but they go down, so that Booyah Bomb going to be stalled out. Won't be the complete end of the road, though, as there's still plenty of time left before overtime will loom. So now just having this awkward fighting happening around this left side. 30 seconds left remaining. Cooler is available for Sleep as well, so they can choose to play a little bit more aggressively to at least just win on the margins where they will have that Cooler respawn. But still, that Cooler remains unused as you have the Pen in a very precarious situation on the right side, trying to stay alive throughout those whales as slowly but surely 1B Prime chipping away at that lead, now past that second checkpoint. Now this is where you start to panic a little bit. You have 3 players going down on the side of Sleep. Kira does not have their Booyah Bomb available, and this could be a very quick lead change. 2 seconds, 1 second, and that is it. 1B Prime at the very end of things, Sleep just steal away game 1 as Sleep just did not have the specials or the resistances available to end that game.
No, what was pretty dominantly in control of Sleep for honestly a lot of that game ends up slipping away at the very end to 1B Prime. And so this is typical of TC Undertow. Like, it's the map lacks defensive positions, so when they got moving, they really got to move, and just like mistiming that Booyah Bomb, not having it available for the end of the game, just ended up losing them that game. Not to say that's Carrot's fault, but it's just a like accumulation of all these problems, and the map just being like awkward to defend from, letting them get that deep push at the very end, unable to contest, giving them that first game in this set.
Unable to contest there at the very end is basically, and we saw as well. I was mentioning it. We were mentioning it as well, where Kira had the Booyah Bomb, you had the resources available, but when they went down, you have to get that Booyah Bomb fast up immediately, but they just weren't able to get it up in time, and ultimately that would have been the game changer for Sleep to get that one. So that might have been the one they wish they would have gotten back, but again, still, you have a lot more games to play here potentially to bring this one back. You need to take it one game at a time, and as they move to Mako zones, what could we possibly see here in terms of maybe sticking with the same weapons?
You know, not all too sure. Kara is a pretty flexible player. Like, for Team Scuba in the North American League, they're playing pencil. Not to say that they're going to be playing backline here, but they do have a variety of weapons up their sleeve. And so I think the question lies in what Mar wants to play. And so that leads to what does Kara end up playing to support Mar's decision. And so I'm wondering if a leader core is good to just fight Basil head on. Like, it's clearly a strategy that works, taking that first game for Wemby Prime. So maybe just match their energy. That's a possible choice here for Zone's Makamart. Makamart is a map that lends itself very well to verticality. And so a weapon like Forge or 96, things that I typically imagine Kara playing, not that they're bad here, but they are, less effective than a flatter map like, Museum or, Scorch. So if there's any adaptations to make, I'm thinking it's going to be Leader Zap, Leaders, and, Leader being strong here directly into Basil, but also Zap being a weapon that can play much faster and around these, ledges.
And also support the other weapons that can play around those ledges as well, such as the blasters, where you are able to poke under those ledges, play the angles, and basically play on this very squarish map around those stacks, and really be able to help your slower weapons, such as those blasters, get out in the case that they need to. So that is, I definitely can see that, and I definitely agree with that approach to this. But as we wait a little bit here, we are on a little bit of a delay just because we saw a little bit of it as well. I believe Nelkio had some issues. I believe that was the zap that we saw there kind of dying, but still standing still in the ink. So fixing their internet a little bit, as maybe that might have been the only elements that was holding them back a little bit, just a lagging zap.
I don't think Magic Carpet's what lost in that game, I'll be honest. So, I mean, it's good that we're going to get some good latency in this lobby. Rare thing for Splatoon 3. But, yeah, I mean, now thinking about the side of Sleep and what adaptations they make. Sorry, Wemby Prime. I'm wondering what they're going to change up here. Because they did have that 52 blaster combo, and I'm wondering if they're going to keep it. It seems pretty strong. I mean, it is pretty strong. It's probably the most dominant core in the whole game right now. But I'm wondering if they're, going to opt for maybe the Luna Blaster, which was a nice choice previously. And we're going to see, should they choose to switch up anything here as we move into this second game of Grand Finals here. Choosing to keep just about everything on the board exactly the same, so a lot of yap for nothing here. Only change being Chiba switching to the V Blaster instead of the C Blaster, and no stealth jump, surprisingly. So, all in on aggression, just shoot them better, and it's going to work out just fine.
As we see early, though, in the first 10 seconds of things, you already have Wemby Prime taking the aggression straight to Sleep, getting both of their aggressive players down, and already putting them on the back foot. So again, these early advantageous pushes and the early pace at which these teams play at is just awesome to see. Kira on that right side now taking that fight. Just trying to see if they can stay alive during that entirety of it, but one-for-one trade will be had. But now, yet turning the tables here, it's now Sleep's turn to be immediately in the defense of Wemby Prime, as you have Basil getting rushed down there by Chivas.
Getting that resource the bubble, and then the 52 just dives into it, taking out Chivas on the blaster. So there's a gal behind them right now on a big flank. I can half see it, and they're expending so many resources to take care of this gal, but the gal's just living. Serija just dipping and diving through the ink and managing to survive this team fight. And just this flank drew so much attention that all of Wemby Prime just gotta walk back in uncontested. So while they don't have the zone right now, they're able to get so much more footing than having to play from all the way back in their base. And so 36 remaining. They do have the splash on now, gonna be able to secure the zone and finally apply some penalty points. But excellent play out of Serija, I'd say, drawing all that attention and just letting them get back in safely.
Yeah, now with that, you have Wemby Prime with a stronger control of mid, however, but still, Sleep, taking it all the way down to 25, it got a long way to go, but with them going 3 players down, it might not be that long, as now that is yet more time that Sleep has to wait getting back, and ZX, yet again, still camping under that left side, finds another pick, continuously, again, stalling out and stalling out these players from coming back. Very much staggered now. Sleep have seen their lead pretty much vanish within those 20 seconds, and have still yet to really find a pick. Finally finding one onto that gal on that right side, but blink and you miss it. Already lead being taken by Wemby Prime with knockout situation now looming. Now Chiva's now trying to move in. Blaster will not be able to paint that zone. Gal wall just immediately faces them, and we could see the end of the game before it really found its footing right back. Nobody being able to make back into that zone. That stagger just lasted for so long, and Wemby Prime take a quick 2-0 within the set now, knocking at the door of a quick sweep.
Set up everything they needed to do properly in that lockout. Like Ceridra roaming between the left side and the right side of each side they need to lock out, and just putting their support where needed. And Ceridra's been this like dominant force. So in conjunction with the Blaster one on the left side, and Nelkio and Ceridra holding the right side, with Ceridra being a bit of a floater, like they've just able to stop everyone from moving in properly. And so you saw that they had to expend that Reef Slider early in the like previous team fight, and so the last Reef Slider to potentially cap that zone came out just like a frame too late. And so I don't know, it was such excellent setup by them across the board. Basil as well also putting on that like backline pressure. You saw Kara trying to flank on the right side. It's taken down. I don't know, it was honestly a picture perfect lockout, I'd say.
Yeah, the continuous picks that they got, just you could see the momentum building up, the slowly but surely that you had one pick after another, that Sleep was just unable to really regroup ever. And now they have to regroup. They have to do it because now they have to win 3 straight in order to force this bracket reset. So long ways ahead of them. Not impossible for sure, but gonna be a tough hill to climb with Basil still on that E leader, still holding firm with that, and everyone pretty much remaining the same in terms of weapons. So running it right back now, just this time on a different map in a different mode.
No, Shiva's on that 52 gallons now, so if you can't beat him, join them, and choosing that weapon for themselves. Look at Ceridra hiding on that right side, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
52 is such a thorn in their side. It does get picked out, so, you know, it's going to be Chiva's flank working out a little bit better. Taking this plat with some... Oh. They're taking control of this plat now with honestly enough clamps to start to push here, so a pick or two is going to open the door up for them. They just have to pick up Ceridra, who's in their backline once again. Does get that pick, so now it's their turn to get the first push here for Sleep.
Yeah, slowly but surely here, moving forward and trying to take out this right side. Booyah Bomb is available for Kira to see if they can continue that momentum, but the player's just not around them as Kira's just left alone, and they go down 3 down now for Sleep as just less the Chiva on his left side trying to poke at Basil, but you have to worry about your own ramp. You have pretty much chaotic cleaning up happening in this mid area, but it will go into the favor of Wemby Prime, who have now found themselves 2 power clams to really push for. Basil now working their way towards that mid spinner as well to see if they can start initiating a push, but very good defense from Sleep onto the ramp to at least make sure that push doesn't go too far. Very nice double as well from Chivas on that Gal to break things down and end that push, and very much swing momentum back in the Sleep's favor.
Kara's not done yet, getting another pick onto ZX here, opening the door just a bit further. Ceredra's on the flank and does take down Kara, which is going to stop a little bit of their momentum, but they still do have the ability to continue going forward. You see Chiva's poking that block and such, then now the Booyah Bomb's going to come out. So this is going to buy them that ramp, and it's going to let them move on to their plat. You see Kara moving up through that Booyah Bomb with Tetras, moving up forward, trying to take a fight, but does end up losing it. And Chivas does go down too, so it's just Kara and Mar ended now. Not able to get that push going. They still do have 2 down on Wemby Prime, but it's just so staggered, they're not able to get their momentum fully going. And Basil does get a pick onto Mar. Closes out one more pick onto Karo, and what was the beginning of a good push swings right back in the favor of Wemby Prime.
There is the score as well, opening things up here in this game 3. Another one as well, making its way through. ZX following up with a couple more clams. And here is the lockout situation. Basil setting themselves up really nicely on this mid-spinner area to create that overlooking sight line. Just kill on sight is going to be their motto. ZX camping under this bottom left as well to help support. They actually can find an angle under this wall, but will there be any follow-up clams to at least stall this out a little bit? There was one, but not enough to get that second power clam, that other power clam in as well. So will be a lead at 30. They'll have to suffice with Wemby Prime, though, in a great position to just stall out the rest of this game, especially on a very defensive map.
30 is a deep push, and like they were on the back foot right before they got the push, so they just swung things heavily into the other way here. And now it's going to be their turn to defend. They do go 2 down in 2 separate team fights, or in mid, and now it's going to be Kara moving up. But there's a flank, hold on. Chivas got behind them, taking down Basil, and so it is going to be Sleep who's now has a presence on their plat. Now they do need to take down ZX on that Blaster, who has been like holding this ramp area. and everyone else needs to move forward along the Chivas if they want to get some more control here. But Wemby Prime does redeploy in time and now holding this ramp area.
Booyah Bomb to create some type of disruption, but not really much follow-up there. There are plenty of power plants available on the board for either side to utilize, but of course Sleep needs a long way to go. They're going to practically need half of the power claims to even make this one happen. Yes, doing quick maps there, thank you very much. But still going with this, still a long ways to go regardless, but you have Wemby Prime playing very safely just to make sure that they don't give up too much ground.
Out comes the Booyah Bomb. It's going to clear out all the space in front of the basket, so Sleep, if they play this right, they do get a dunk and 2 power clams here. Not quite going to be the lead just yet, but closing it down by 40 points, and more clams soon to follow, with that Restarter especially getting another pick. ZX does get a kill here, but it doesn't seem like they're going to be able to get that power clam here into that basket, which would pretty much tie up that score here. So 50 seconds remaining, and Sleep does have the resources to, get the lead here with that power climb and then some, now not having give or take enough to get that lead back should they have enough control. They do need to get a push going if they want to dunk those clams in, but resources-wise, they're looking sitting pretty soundly.
Yeah, 30 seconds remaining. Cooler being popped out as well from Wemby Prime, so this will at least give them that reassurance in case anything were to go awry. Any player goes down, they can get back in a quick amount of time. Basil already set up. The Reslayer coming in from Zombie on that right side does manage to catch out one, but they go down themselves. Here comes the Booyah Bomb invested pretty early as well, but Kira falling immediately right after that. There's 2 huge specials. The resources that Sleep needed to get in, and with Zedra going in and taking out Zombie that might have been curtains already. Splash unavailable if ZX chooses to utilize it to maybe end the game right here, right now, and without any power clam on the board. That will do it. Wemby Prime, a clean 3-0 in Grand Finals, are your Paddling Pool 378 winners.
Surge at the end, packing it up. I want to go home, getting a quick quad onto Sleep, and just sealing the deal there. So, I mean, what was a pretty close game 3 does end up going the way of Wemby Prime not wanting to get that bracket reset, not even wanting to get to the end of this best of 5 here. And, they are going to claim this Paddling Pool victory. What was pretty close in Winners Finals wasn't able to be replicated, and Sleep does go down here with, unfortunately, not a whole lot of fight back against Wemby Prime.
Yeah, and we saw there from start to finish, that momentum really picked up in that game 2, and then in the decider game 3, it just went through the roof, as well as Sleep just struggled to find any momentum on that right side. But that was really to the strength of Wemby Prime. Wemby Prime gave them no room to operate when they made it into that mid area, and then very, very good defense and discipline throughout the rest of that, where they were able to force out these specials in desperate moments. And then when the specials didn't get their value, Sleep just didn't have the resources to follow through. So really nicely done there. Wemby Prime, clean 3-0. And that will do it here for us at Dapple Productions. Paddling Pool 378 in the books. You know what time it is, usually what we do at the end. Plugs. Ellie, you got anything to plug?
Things on the screen. What about you, Rocket? Where are we going before we close out this cast?
Yeah, same thing. On my screen as well. On the screen as well. But we'll say this. In the background as well. Congratulations, Argentina. Sorry to you, mostly UK viewers. I know a couple people acing. I apologize. Dude, I apologize. For any of you England fans who have watched their team choke away a lead like that in the World Cup. But that'll be it for us. Jordan, our wonderful streamer, as always. Shout outs. See y'all next time for the next edition of Battling Pool.
Bye-bye. Let's press the button.